You are now listening to the Lance Scurv Show, the boldest spot on internet radio.
Welcome to another episode of the Lance Scurv Show. We have on the line a young man named James, and he's going to share with us his trials and tribulations of, I don't want to say victim because it makes you seem powerless, but I have to say it that way. A victim of gangstalking, organized gangstalking, and Masonic harassment. And that's a very interesting title. We just came up with that, but we can't not leave out any of the components in his path that he's walked. He's been forced to walk. And it's been a while since I did a conversation on gang stalking. There's so many people who have wanted to reach out and speak to me, and I have to push and make sure that, you know, we continue on. And I do appreciate you, brother, for coming on to the show. And also, during at some point, I want you to share your particulars as far as your YouTube channel and the different social media platforms that you're on, because you are the real thing. And I will say that as a person who does what I do on a level of speaking to people who claim to be gang stalked, I do get some people who, you know, are wearing aluminum foil around their ankles, and I'm just so glad that you're not one of them, brother. So come on and talk to me, man, and let's chop it up and let's share what you've gone through. And it's going to be very interesting because most people write this off as being something of a conspiracy theory, or they may run into other people who may not have the credibility or may not be too right in the head, but this is real. And I have to say at this point that I've experienced some of it, right? Maybe not as much as you and others have, but I'm feeling the heat also. And I'm remaining strong, and I'm going to do what I do and what my mission is on a divine level. So, brother, I know you're there.
I'm here.
Yes, yes. Wow, where do we start? I mean, you have a normal life. At some point, you realize that something's not right, and you don't know where it's coming from and what it's all about. Maybe you start to doubt yourself, and then you realize that this is something done by someone or some organization. Start from the beginning of when this started to happen, and maybe why, and why is it happening to you, and what's happening to you?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Basically, this all came about 11 months ago, and it was pretty much an overnight occurrence. I woke up one day, and I was in the twilight zone. It was that. I mean, what happened was a couple of years ago, I was involved with a woman whose father is a very powerful man. He's a corporate entity.
Yes.
And I believe he's also 33-degree Freemason.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Masons, they don't tell you directly if they are members. They're not obliged to do that. So I don't have any proof of that.
Mm-hmm.
However, I believe he is 33-degree, powerful man. He's VP of State Farm Insurance. I dated his daughter, and we had a falling out.
Wow.
And, what happened?
Talk about name dropping.
Hey, I don't care. I mean, I know for a fact that they're sponsoring a lot of this, and I mean, I know they're responsible for putting me in this program, this evil, atrocious, evil program.
Mm-hmm.
So I got nothing to lose at this point.
Right. I know exactly how you feel, man. So don't be afraid to do so. This is the place to do it.
Yeah. Anywho, you know, this is about 2 years ago. We had a falling out. I had moved out from my home in Detroit, Michigan, my parents' house, you know, and moved out to Denver. I touched down in Denver originally, and this girl, she lives in Castle Rock, Colorado, which is an upscale town in Colorado, multi-million-dollar mansion. You know, her dad wasn't there, her mom wasn't there. We were basically just playing house. Everything was all good.
Wow.
We had I was loving it, whatever, you know.
I'm not mad at you.
We had a falling out, and then I left Colorado. I went to Oregon. I kind of and then from there, I kind of bounced back and forth between Oregon and Detroit. I was seeing another girl, my ex-girlfriend.
Busy man.
Yeah. Well, I was, not now.
I'm just messing with you.
So for about a year, a little over a year, I didn't experience any harassment. And I found out later, that these counterintelligence programs that people get put in, they have to do a year or so of intel on you before they go overt and want you to know that you're actually being harassed and terrorized.
And that's part of it. So they want you to know this.
Exactly. And if you notice, like I was saying, this all came about 11 months ago, but this incident that kind of sparked all of this harassment, it was 2 years ago. So they were doing illegal surveillance on me for about a year before they went overt on me 11 months ago. And the first thing I noticed was I was laying in bed with my girlfriend in downtown Royal Oak. I'm not going to name her name.
Right.
And when I would wake up in the morning, as soon as I woke up, and I'm talking like as soon as, the sun hit my eyes and I sat up, I would hear a long press on a car horn. Every day. It was like very subtle at first. It was that only. It was that little noise campaign. They call it a noise campaign.
Right.
And then I would notice, I would go downstairs out the door to my car, and as soon as I opened that back door to the apartment complex, another long press on the horn. And I'm thinking, what the hell is going on?
Right.
So it was like to sensitize me, to make me
doubt yourself. Your sanity.
Exactly. And so that was the first thing. And then I was, in the car with my girlfriend. We went to a Meijer grocery store late at night, which is a chain here in the Midwest.
Right.
And we parked, and all these red and white cars, they pulled in behind us, and they parked right in front of us with their brights on, shining us with their bright lights. And I'm thinking, what the hell are these people doing? She ran in the store and got some items, whatever, and I was sitting in the car waiting. And one of the dudes that was, sitting there brighting me with his headlights,
right.
he took his phone out, and he actually took a picture of me. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I did not know what was going on. She came back in the car. She's like, it was so weird. Like, I felt like I was being watched by secret shoppers in there. Like, people were acting super strange to me. I was like, what the hell is going on? So at this point, boom, now I'm in panic mode.
Right.
They cranked it up. And I was like, babe, I don't know what's going on. I thought it was feds at first. I thought it was like FBI, DEA,
But they would do something, according to their protocol, they would approach you and say, maybe not, but if they showed up like that, yeah.
Exactly. So I was, they threw me all these diversions. I didn't know what the hell was going on. But I didn't know what to think. So I'm like, okay, this is probably like federal military type surveillance they're doing on me. It's probably feds.
Right.
And I said, babe, look, I'm taking off. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drive out to Oregon and wait for the heat to die down because I didn't want to implement her.
Right.
I thought, and maybe if this was like organized crime syndicate, her life was in danger the longer that I was with her. We were living together.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm gonna split.
Right.
She's like, okay, like I love you. We hug, we say our goodbyes, and I start trekking all the way to Oregon. Well, these organized stalkers, they followed me all the way there. I was thinking I could outrun this thing. Well, it followed me.
It's all over the world.
Yeah, this is a global protocol, and I didn't realize that at first. I didn't know what the hell was going on. So as soon as I get to Oregon, they cranked it up. So they're coming full force at me with these organized stalkers, just following you wherever you go. So these people, for people that are listening that don't know what organized stalking is, it's quite literally what I just said. It's people following you vehicularly mobbing you. They do this thing called the FBI floating box, where they have a convoy of vehicles on the interstate, and they actually will box you in. So they got people in front of you, behind you, on the side of you, moving with you, in this floating box to keep surveillance on you 24/7. And then if you're on a side street, if you go into a business, these people follow you into places of business. It's quite literally like, imagine if you were being followed by secret shoppers everywhere. I don't know if anyone is familiar with mystery shoppers or secret shoppers.
Right. Well, explain to them what that is. I mean, I know what that is.
They're the people that, Walmart and places like that hire as they're basically undercovers, but they're not police officers, but they will follow people around in the store that store has profiled as, suspicious, to see if they're going to shoplift anything. And they'll follow you around and watch what items you're buying and stand close to your personal space. If you want to know what organized stalking is like in a public setting like that, that is exactly what it is like. Maybe a slightly more aggressive, I would add.
Let me ask you something really quick. I have some really unruly neighbors that have been playing music so loud, and I could take it, but come on, this is Florida. I want to be quiet. I'm almost a senior citizen in 1 year, right? I'm hearing the bass, and I'm going to just close the door in my studio, but I have everything open, and I usually don't do that, but I'm home alone. I shouldn't have said that. Right. I got my toys with me, y'all. So anyway, do you hear that? And if you do, I'll get up and close the door and continue to talk. But they're really, I don't want to make a trip across the street because, maybe they're gang stalking me and harassing me. I don't know.
It could be. They do a lot of that. They, if you have a home, I'm young. I don't have my home. I've been living out of my car for a long time. Finally, I have 4 walls right now. Thank God. But the noise campaign is a huge part of it, especially if you're stationary and you are in an apartment complex, especially, or if you have a home.
Yeah, I have a home.
So I've, heard a lot of from targets, that have a home or lived in an apartment, and I was living in an apartment like 6 months ago. They would have people, in the apartment on each side of you, above you, just banging on the walls. I'm knocking lightly, lightly knocking, just subtle things like that.
Right. They would have to actually, for me, they would have to actually come on the property, and that's not good for them. So their best bet is the front, but the front, I have an iron, an iron gate custom made where they can't even touch the door. And
beautiful. I
got cameras. I can just dip, even from where I'm sitting, I can look around the whole house. So lots of times people see me looking and peeking, like, what are you doing peeking in a room like that? That's what I'm looking at. I don't mind that being out there because it's recorded when I'm not here. I can check it out when I'm not here. And nobody knows when I'm here or not. I go to great extremes, right? And I'm not trying to, like, steal your thunder like an Oprah Winfrey type. Whatever one of Oprah Winfrey's guests would come on, she did the same thing, too. It's like, wait a second. But because of my dealings down here and what I do, I think I have a little gang stalking shade thrown my way by local entities here. But the show's not about me. I'll get into that another time. But this is very interesting what you've said, Yeah.
Yeah, they start the tactics very subtly, and then they crank it up, and the goal ultimately is to just cause total psychological chaos 24/7. It's a counterintelligence program, but it's really psychological terrorism. These are some of the worst human and civil rights violations since slavery, in my opinion. I mean, this is absolutely horrendous, and it's what it is, in my opinion, it's crowdsourced totalitarianism.
Right.
That would be the best way to describe it, because now, with smartphones and technology, the perps' jobs, the perpetrators of this harassment,
their jobs have gotten easier.
Oh my gosh, it's so easy for them, and that's the second thing that I noticed, when I moved out there. I was about a month into this harassment, and all the organized stalkers, the pedestrians, the ones in their cars, always on their phones, always, and I would observe these people, and they're throwing hand signals to each other. They use police hand signals to basically point out what the target is doing. So they're going to scratch certain parts of their head that are closest in proximity to you. Things of that nature, you know, itch in their eye, very subtle things that can be plausibly denied. This thing is backed by federal agencies. They have extremely sophisticated technology that they are abusing to harass innocent people. But what they're doing is they're being trained by feds and cops, and they're hiding behind law enforcement. So they have all this plausible deniability going for them, and that's why no one spills the beans, because no one wants to be the next target. You know? And that's why I kind of think it's crowdsourced totalitarianism, because it's conveying a message also. Not only is it, I think it has entertainment value for the participators.
Yeah, when you break.
Speaking.
That's right.
Yeah, and, you know, it's profitable. They get rewarded. There's an audience of people backing them to do what they're doing.
So they're more brazen.
But also, you know, it's conveying this message that, you know, resistance is futile. Resistance is futile. Look what happens. If you go against us, you know, we're going to make you a scapegoat, and we're going to psychologically torture you. You know? So it's a really effective method of control. It's many different things, and it's confusing. You know, they throw you a lot of diversions. I remember in the beginning of my harassment, when I first moved out to Oregon, they used predominantly Hispanic Americans to make me think, you know, oh, maybe this is all cartel related. You know? And then they switched, you know, the next month, and then it was all white cars that were stalking me, and they had, you know, these antler type Masonic decals and these KKK looking dudes stalking me. You know, to divert me, you know. But really, I mean, I don't think now it was a diversion. I think maybe they do contract organized crime and gangs to do this, and the Masonic KKK members, and the ex-cops, and the dirty private investigator. I mean, everybody is involved on a certain level, but it's most definitely spearheaded by these secret societies, you know, and in the majority of police officers, firefighters, first responders, they're all involved with organized stalking, and the majority of them belong to Masonic groups and sub-organizations, I've noticed. So that I kind of followed the money, you know, per se, and I've realized that's the main connection. You know, the Masonic groups like the Freemasons and the Eastern Star and all of those sub-organizations.
Yes, indeed.
They've been given this tech by government officials, and then, you know, city council and whoever else, they're starting these witch hunts in the community, and that's essentially what it is. It's a modern-day witch hunt. But we really got a bunch of sociopaths. Well, I won't say they're all sociopaths, because there's a lot of normal people that get sucked into this. I think it's very addicting for them, the participants.
Rush of power.
Exactly. It's the total, you know, power trip. I mean, imagine if you had technology that, you know, you could see where this person was, potentially see their view, and torture them at the push of a button. You know, I mean, imagine that
you become their video game, but it's live.
Quite literally. My
Understood.
theory is that it's, you know, Pokemon Go per se, but for human beings. Society has deemed, oh, you're this, this, and this, and I really think, you know, they have private apps, private social media pages.
Of course. Oh, let me tell you, I'm quite sure, and I'm not trying to rob your thunder, brother, and it's not a thunder that you want to have robbed anyway, because who wants to be bothered with this? But, you know, I keep myself so transparent with a dash of craziness that I'm with it. You want to follow me? I might turn around and follow you. I had a car 2 months ago. I was coming home from one of my night gigs, not my main jobs. Folks know I'm a Jamaican and I work 19 jobs. And it's like 2 a.m, and I'm about a mile from home. There's a car that looked like it was about to merge into my lane, and I pulled over in my lane, but I didn't want to hit the curb. And the car I drive is a hoopty. You know, my wife drives a better car. But it got so close that he brushed me. He brushed me so close, but didn't actually, he touched me, but didn't hit me to make a dent. It was slight scratches that I really wasn't mad at, because the car, you know, it's got wear and tear on it, but it's like, wait a second, I expected him to slow down and maybe get out and say, hey, you know, what did I do, or what are we going to do? And if he did that, it would have been okay. It's like, listen, man, look at the car already, man. It was so light of a scratch.
Yeah, yeah.
That if I wet my finger and rubbed the scratch, it would have went away. I mean, you couldn't.
Unbelievable.
And it was just like 6 inches, and it was nothing. If I go out there now to look for it, I won't see it. But I said, oh, heck no. Now, I wasn't going to go and do some road rage, but I'm a little more keen than that. So what did I do? I said, let him go on. But I want to see where he goes. And I let him have a little distance, right? Where he thought, and there were other cars around me, so either guilt kept him or her looking behind, but I kept going. And we went about 2 miles up the road, and he turned, and I let him. I kept my eyes on him, and then he turned into the subdivision, which was pretty sizable, and then he made a right, and I slowed down because I said, okay, I know I'm going to see his rear lights. But when I turned, he went down the block and turned around and sat there where he made the turn. So I stopped. I sat there, and I just sat there, and I said to myself, if the police come, I can say exactly what it is that I'm doing. I didn't harass this person, but I kept my eye on him like I'm not a security guard, but, you know, security guards are there for the eyes and ears and to report and document. So that's what I'm doing as a citizen. So let them call the cops and be scared of me, and I'll tell them what really happened, right?
Right.
So they turned around and went slowly into the subdivision, but since it was a narrow street and I didn't have much room to maneuver, I said, okay, I'm going to let it go. But I know the car, and I'll come back another day and see if it's pulled in one of the driveways. You see what I mean? So that was strange. But I'm one to follow through now because I'm armed all the time with a video camera, my Canon, my regular camera, audio recorders. I have this because of what I do. So many know that. So it's like, okay, you know, I'll document you right on back. You take pictures of me, I'll take pictures of you. You know?
Yes, sir.
But go ahead, man. I just wanted to say that.
Watch the watchers, per se.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I have had a similar incident, actually a more extreme one. They do a lot of stuff like that. You know, they normally, you know, they'll vandalize your property, they'll break into your car and turn a light on. So when you wake up in the morning, your battery's dead. You know, it's little subtle things like that. I noticed, like about 4 months after going to Portland from Detroit to try to outrun this thing, I had stayed there about a month, and then 4 months after that, left. I was coming back through the town, Castle Rock, Colorado, of the girl who I believe is responsible for putting me in this program. I drove through her town, and it was snowing. You know, it was during a large blizzard, and I actually saw her car. She made her presence known on the highway during this blizzard, and she actually joined in with semi-trucks trying to run me off the interstate. And I'm not kidding. I'm talking these trucks. They were trying to kill me. They were coming 75 miles an hour when I'm in a little Honda sedan, you know, and they're blowing past me. And it was, you know, a miracle that I didn't crash, you know, but she made her presence known and kind of joined in with this mob of trucks to intimidate me and also to let me know, like, yeah, this is, you know, I'm the one responsible, basically, an ego thing, you know. And as I kept driving, there was kind of like a traffic jam, you know, because of this blizzard. And these cars, I didn't want to get in an accident. My brakes were bad. It was a blizzard.
Right.
They ran me into a snowbank, you know, totally strategically, like almost like these were normal cars, you know.
They were practicing. They've been practicing. This is what they do.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, they've perfected this. I mean, it was a total pit maneuver, and they forced me into a snowbank. And I was like, oh, my gosh, you know. I got out. The cars left the scene of the accident. People were laughing out their windows. They were recording me, taking pictures of it. I screamed for help. No one helped me. I called, this is like one of the only times I've ever called 911.
Right.
I called 911. I told them what happened. They said, oh, well, you know, there's a lot of accidents on the road right now. We can't send a squad car out to you because you don't have any license plate numbers. I said, what are you talking about? I said, I was just involved in an accident. I was vehicular mobbed and forced into a snowbank.
Right.
I mean, my bumper was hanging off, you know. They, oh, no, we can't help you. So, you know, at that moment, it kind of added it all up to me. In my head, I'm like, okay, the cops aren't going to help me. You know, they're definitely involved. And that furthered that conclusion that I made when I had driven 5 miles up the road and I drove my car as is, you know. It was severely damaged, but I wanted to get out of there. I was in fear for my life after being mobbed into this snowbank. I saw a police officer, and he was parked on the side of the median, and I pulled up alongside of him, and I rolled my window down, you know, and I waved at him, and I tried to get his attention. He saw me, but he just he looked directly in my eyes, kind of smirked, pretended like he didn't see me, or I'm sorry, hear me, and just smirked at me. I was like, unbelievable.
Right.
And that solidified it in my mind, you know.
Right.
Okay, this is serious. You know, cops aren't going to help me. I'm on my own here.
You got to be ready for the cops not to help you because they're in on it. I mean, you know, those who are in on it, or I'm not going to say their whole day is just focusing on, but with the secret societies within the secret societies in these different, you got to understand with the police officers, this is a fraternal order also, right?
Absolutely.
So, you know, we can't forget what it is. I had a situation where I was doing my last run on this bus route because folks said, no, I drive the bus here in Orlando, Florida. And I had a gentleman who I would believe he had slight mental issues and maybe he was homeless or whatever. And I've seen him before, but he wasn't wrapped too tight. Well, it's him and I only on the bus. And there's a road down here called Shader Road. And yeah, Shade is right. It is dark. It's a warehouse area. And when you turn down the street, there is literally nothing there. Closed warehouses, and that's it. But about a mile before we got to that point, usually I'll put on all of the lights internally so the windshield actually becomes a mirror so I could see what's going on behind me. We have mirrors, but I want to see the whole thing. This guy got up and sat close by, you know, just beyond my peripheral vision, and he whips out a switchblade, right? And he starts switching it, popping it back in, switching it, popping it back in, switching it, popping it back in. I took my seatbelt off just in case I had to jump this guy, you know. But I'm no competition for a knife. He was no problem, right? But a blade, a little kid can walk up to you and knife you up. So protocol is that we call our base and let them know, and they call the cops. No, I'm sorry. It would have took too long, and he would have heard me call. I wasn't scared of him. Look, it was a long day. I'm going home. And if I have to get up and run off this bus and get the knife out of his hand and beat his behind, then fine. So anyway, I stopped the bus, opened the door, got off, right? He's still sitting there. I called the police, right? I called my base, let them know why I did what I did, but then I called the police. And wouldn't you know, the dispatch woman, she kept me on the line for what was, to me, too long. It was like, there's a guy, I don't know if he's trying to do something to me, but am I going to drive that as long? So she's like, well, what's his height? What's his weight? Do you know his name? And are you sure? Right. And I'm like, what? I walked away from the bus. I'm on the phone for like 15 minutes with this woman, getting 15 minutes.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, there's something wrong here. When the cops finally came, they had an attitude with me.
Of course.
They had an attitude with me, right?
Unbelievable.
I couldn't believe this. And they talked to the guy, and then they let him go. And I had several incidents like this while out in public with the police officers. So I don't deal with police unless I know you personally. I mean, I'm going to go about my day where I'm trying to handle my stuff on my own, unless now it needs to be documented by you guys who probably already know what's going on.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I mean, if you're a target, see, and I'm not bashing police officers, okay? I mean, if you're put in this program, you'll never look at the American flag the same again.
Exactly.
But if you're not a victim of gang stalking, or if you're not a targeted individual and you're not, being harassed, I would say you can trust doctors, you can trust cops for the most part.
I don't trust doctors either.
Hey, but when you're a target, you cannot trust anybody. You can't trust the cops. You can't trust psychiatrists. You can't trust healthcare professionals. You really can only rely on yourself.
Right.
And it's sad, really, but that's the way it is. And like you said, they're the Fraternal Brotherhood of Police. I mean, they're heavily involved. They all belong to Masonic groups, and that's who's spearheading these campaigns. These hate campaigns, they're completely driven by hate. And going back to what we were talking about, I think it's crowdsourced witch hunts, basically, on secret social media pages that display us, and slander us. And it's like a game. It's like Pokemon Go for human beings. And they can be rewarded. And then also, maybe you don't want to be a participant. Maybe you just want to spectate, right?
Right.
So you could just be a spectator on one of these secret websites and just watch it all go down. That's got to be exciting as well, to watch, just total chaos in this person's life, But really, it's so dehumanizing, and it's atrocious. And there's a huge misconception that, it's the CIA, it's the FBI, blah blah blah. It's all agents. It's not.
Right.
There's normal people, in your community that have access to this technology, and they're not agents. And a lot of the brown-nosing perpetrators, they're just normal people, everyday people with normal jobs, and they're addicted to this. This is so fun to them.
Yeah.
It's never give them this type of satisfaction and power fix and adrenaline. They just cannot let it go. And I've seen so many good people in my past that were, good people that I would have never expected them to participate in this, that participate willingly. So the cognitive dissonance there it's got to be huge. They're just...
The spectrum is just so wide, and people don't understand it from my point of view, and correct me if I'm wrong, but many of these people who are in on it to a point don't realize how deep it is, but they readily seek acceptance by a bigger group, and like I say, they believe the hype,
Right.
I've had it there's a woman that would usually, and I spoke about this on other shows, that she would walk down the block in this subdivision, and she would go through several garbage cans. She'd pick up a piece of paper here. It's pretty clean around here. She'd find something and get in your garbage can. But when she comes around my garbage can, especially in the times when we don't leave them out there, but only when the garbage is about to be put out, or even afterward, he or she is all in my garbage. And my wife would get up early and get out in the front yard and sweep and do little things, because she does this every day. And she noticed this woman out there, and the lady's acting nice, and praise the Lord, how you doing, and whatever. She's steady. And I'm like, what are you really looking for? So I said, well, listen, let me see. This is what happened. I'm always waking up late. My wife wakes up much earlier than I do, right? She told me about this lady. We're walking down Lake Eola in downtown Orlando on this one particular Sunday, and she sees that lady sitting in the park talking to somebody else. And the lady looks at her and says, oh, how are you doing? You're the lady up there that always works in her yard. Now, this lady knew me. Right. Now, my wife freaked out that I knew the woman. And I said, that's the lady I always see on the bus. She's always riding my bus and always talking about the Lord and all of this, but she's got this glazed look over her face. So I said, that's the one that comes to the house? I said, she's one of my passengers. Every night. She's an older woman, right? She's not old, okay? So
Right.
we kind of walked away, and I figured it out. And I'm like, wait a second. So she came back, but I don't think she can put two and two together all the way. I said, the next time you see her out there, you wake me up. So she didn't have to wake me up because I was looking out. So when I heard this woman's voice, I went to the front door, and I have all these plants and pots and stuff in front of my house. So she couldn't see me. So I said, what's going on? She said, well, praise the Lord. I said, well, we're going to praise the Lord by stealing out of people's garbage cans. How about that? And she paused like, uh-oh, this is a live one. I said, let me ask you something. And she said, you don't have to talk to me. I said, listen, let me ask you something. Who's paying you? Maybe they can hire me, and I can come and harass you and go in your garbage cans. So then I went uncharacteristic on her, and from behind the bushes, I said, listen, you stay the F-U-C-K out of my garbage can, or it's going to be some target practice up in here. I said it that way.
You, brother.
I wanted her to go back with that from where she came, because she didn't live in that neighborhood. Why are you so many miles away from downtown? And I know the area where she probably lives in. And when she gets off of my bus, when she rides it, guess what? She gets off in an area where there are no houses. It's real dark and dangerous, and you're going to have to walk back to get to where the houses are. So what are you hiding from? Oh, I can tell you a lot about that. There's a lot of weird things I see in the street. And I'm telling you, a lot of the drunks, a lot of the homeless-looking people, a lot of the people who ride the bus regular, who sit next to you and they bop with their headphones like they're listening to music, they're surveilling you.
Right. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Just how widespread it is, and how targeting just spreads virally. And they contract all these people, bums to soccer moms to lawyers, to cops to corporate entities. Anyone that wants to participate gets recruited, potentially. And it's unbelievable. If you're a target, definitely approach your perpetrators exactly like that, because what they are doing, they're using plausible deniability to cover their tracks, per se.
Right.
But they're also hiding behind law enforcement, and they think that they'll never be held accountable. So they're very arrogant and sly, the types of things that they do. So when you come at them like that, assertive and slightly aggressive, they're not going to expect it, and most of them will back off.
Right.
Watch the watchers, surveil them, take pictures of them. Be careful about what you post on the internet, because there's a lot of videos on there, displaying quote-unquote gang stalking, which to people that aren't being harassed and haven't been sensitized to certain things, they just look like normal videos.
Right.
Where you look at it and you're like, wow, what a whack job.
Right. And that's to discredit those who are really going through stuff.
Absolutely.
Big time.
And there's tons of disinformation. A lot of the people on YouTube and Facebook and other social media outlets, they're posing, they're masquerading as targets, talking about outlandish things like aliens and demons and all this. It's evil. It's a demonic act that's being perpetrated upon the masses, this terrorism, but it is boots on ground. There is an infrastructure in place to mobilize these people, to do surveillance, harassment. The infrastructure is unbelievable. Yeah, and
huge,
mind blowing. When it
resources,
happens, you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh.
Well,
you could use all these resources.
Right. I had a person come to me to do an interview here in the studio. He came two times. It sounded queer, didn't it? No, but he I was going to throw a little joke in there, right? He visited the studio 2 times, and he was speaking about the same extraterrestrial stuff, but it was before and after. His vibe was just off. And see, many of us don't understand or acknowledge that there's a spiritual element to all of this evil. And many of the victims, or many people who are about to be, they're not strong in that area of their life. And those are the ones who will freak out. See, me, I expect it this week. I expect it. I don't want to deal with it because it's annoying. But you know, if you go out in the yard and you're hanging out at a barbecue with your family, there will be a fly or a mosquito that's going to try to bother you, right? So,
amen.
When you're out there, but see, my thing is that I go out so amped up on a spiritual level, on a battle level, look, you go to the gym. I'm not saying that I actually do now, but after a while, instead of getting beat down, you crave the exercise. When you're in shape for a boxing match and you train properly, you actually look forward to hitting. You don't want to get hit, but when you get hit, that lets you know and it gives you a rush. We're in a battle, and I'm enjoying this now. So now the mentality is I'm the predator. So when I go out, and I know the ones that I have regular stalkers, people who want to know you and they're kind of fascinated by you. I don't know why. With me, I'm a regular dude, but you have those in that gray area. So now I'm a predator. Now I know how to move. I keep myself moving. I keep my eyes open. I do things that are purposely weird if you're watching me and make you think. And don't think that if nobody's looking, I might act violent. I might get you. I might knock you out. Maybe I won't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not just saying that. I am prepared that way because I live a Spartan life. And as soon as I walk, and look, I know my computers. You know, we have cameras. I got nothing but cameras. I know you can surveil me, but I have no shame. I walk around naked, whatever. I might even masturbate one night and look at you. No, I ain't do that. But I'm just saying, I'm nuts that way. So you're not shaming me, number one. You're not shaming me. Because you depend on me being shamed and having fear. Because come on out and do what you're going to do so I can do what I'm going to do. You know?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we are warriors, man. I mean, this whole, counterintelligence, whatever you want to call it, it's so cowardly. You know, these people, they're hiding behind tech, they're hiding behind law enforcement, and we stand alone, man. You know, I mean, and every day is a battle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every day is a battle. And Targets, if you're listening to this, I feel for you. Keep doing what you're doing. The harder you resist, the harder you make it on your perpetrators, the easier in the long run it's going to be on you. And yeah, we're Spartans, man. I mean, these are some of the most horrible, dehumanizing acts of terrorism that we're experiencing.
Yeah.
And we're still chugging. It's unbelievable. So that makes me really happy.
But it's really like, to take it to a different level, they spend all of this and take this time for the various people that they deem threats, because in actuality, they fear something in you. And for many people, they don't understand that that's validation, that they have something inside of themselves that is all powerful, that these entities who are trying to put fear in you, they really fear you. Yeah. Because they know if you reach out to other people with the light that you have on the inside of you, that they can't stop you. So they have to smear your character. Let me tell you something. Doing what I do on this level, which is no bigger than anybody else. Anybody can get a YouTube channel and get a free live stream. But let me just give you an insight. It's so funny. Every few months, there'll be a new wave of people that are like really on me, like, yo, Lance, we love what you're doing. They're calling me and they're coming to the shows, and then they die out, they disappear. And I say, okay. And it took 2 or 3 of those rhythms to happen because I'm a rhythm guy. I watch things, see, and I retain things. I don't always respond. I observe, right? And it's like that first round of the boxing match where you're fainting and, you're doing this and you're doing that, and you see something and the next round you come out, you can go for it. And they can never, once you got that person's rhythm, they'll never have the upper hand on you unless you're off, right? So these people that will call you and talk to you for hours on end, which I don't do much of that anymore, then they disappear. It's like, well, dag, I was kind of enjoying the conversation, three or 4 at a time. And then a new wave comes. Then a new wave, and they're very aggressive. I feed people disinformation. There'll be people who actually will hook up with you and meet you in real life. That's cool because I don't expect much of it. It's like I'm the prostitute. I don't want to say I'm that, but it's like I'm the hooker who, I'm not expecting true love from this encounter. I know exactly what it is. Give me my money. I'll give you your illusion, and we'll keep stepping like ships passing in the night. So,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? You don't put too much weight on this. Relationships, women, friends that you've known for a long time can be infiltrated mentally or be told. Social media, number one, and I don't want to dominate. Just you're getting me excited on a righteous level because you talk the same talk, right? I can't talk like this with everybody, right? But social media is one big spiritual portal to hell if you allow it to be. It can be used for the good things, but look, we have the internet, and I had my hands up. It's like water, like the ocean. This top part, this top layer, this is what we know. But what people don't know is that there's a deep, deep ocean of internet that most will never travel to, most don't know. Here you are swimming on top of the ocean, the water, and something grabs you and sucks you down all the way. You don't know what's down there. We are really vulnerable, so you have to assume that you're living in a glass house. You have to assume every email that I send, I don't expect privacy. There are people, let me tell you something. There are people who send me naked pictures and try to titillate me with that. There are people who come at me, whatever, and I'm talking with them too, like, yeah, okay, fool, you think I'm really falling for this? You know what I mean? Now I've become the predator myself. I'm like, send me some more photos. I got a lot of single friends that would love to have them. You know what I mean?
Hey,
it'll keep them company tonight. Please. Have no shame.
Yeah. I experienced that too. The people that, I mean, and they're just moles and trolls, and they're there to get you excited and then disappear. And it's like, okay, like you said, I'm a young man. I'm 24, almost 25.
But you're smart, man.
Thank you. They throw what they're called honeypots. That's the terminology in the targeting community. And what they are these women or, men, if you were homosexual or whatever.
Whatever you like, they're going to send it to you.
Exactly. They're going to send it to you in a perfect little package, and they're going to try to get intel out of you. They're going to try to see what your fears are, see what's bothering you about this situation, see what's not bothering you about this situation. So, yeah, exactly like what you said, if you're a TI and you're being gang stalked and it's as aggressive as it is for me, you're in a glass house, and read your perps, study your perps. They will show you their hand, per se. They will show it at some point.
Right.
And they're sly, they slip up, they make mistakes. Be on your toes, But, treat it mostly like a business transaction. Like, all right, don't let them get close to your soul, because they will send people in there to try to totally just wreck you.
Right.
And I've had that happen in the beginning. I fell for it. My weakness is women, and they're going to send beautiful women at me to try to whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, look.
Be mindful of this.
They know I'm married, right? But they know I'm not going to fall for cocaine, because I never do drugs and I don't like drugs. I don't even want to take cold medicine. Number one, right?
Good man.
They know I'm not into crime, because I know a lot of people who do make a lot of money with criminal enterprises that have offered me on a friendship level. We grew up together, man. If you ever need any help, listen, I don't need it. So other people who come with their hustles like, Lance, man, you're a brilliant guy. Nah, I don't need it. I don't want it. And they always they know your bank account because they know when you're kind of functionally broke. You know what I mean? But always, I'm going to tell it like this. They always send, not every day, but there's always that tourist on my bus who boards my bus on the last trip at night, who has a cleavage so deep you'll swear you're at a water park sliding down into a crevice, who has thighs so muscular in a female way, and you swear she was a track star. Always the high heels, always the right amount of makeup, always the right tone of voice, and they happen to be lost. But they want to know if they can ride with you because they're new here to Orlando. And as long as you're going back the way you came, they want to ride with you. And they have a way of knowing that you have a 30-minute layover on the last trip. And they want to talk.
That's right.
And they always tell you how they're unhappily married. Okay? And they're baiting you. And I love to tell them how gay I am. It freaks them out. Oh, honey, we can talk. Oh, trust me, we can talk about that. I have most of my girlfriends, they're having problems in their relationship, and we can be friends. And I'm as straight as a ruler. They make rulers off of me. I'm so straight. But they're looking at me like, they didn't tell me he was like this. So you clog their system up. Give them disinformation. You see what I mean?
That's right.
Give it to them.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
they're not the only ones that can play mind games.
Right. Every property you have doesn't have to have your name on it. So if they swear they got a victory by getting into where they think, not the woman now, but anybody, into your home as a fake friend, well, how do you know that this is my only residence? Right? How do you know that that bank account is the only one I have? How do you know?
Precisely.
You know, how do you know if I'm really where I say I am? I might mail my cell phone off to a friend in Wichita, Kansas, and have him take pictures and post as me and mail it back. Let's play games.
I like the way you think.
No, I love it because, you know, I can use my paranoia righteously and stay mentally healthy. You're not driving me crazy. If I go crazy, you coming crazy with me.
That's right. And we can both discern, you know, but a lot of people, you know, and there's a statistic out there on the internet that I find to be pretty accurate, in my opinion. It's that, you know, 70% of TIs are women who are widowed or divorced or single. Mm-hmm. They're over 40 and they live alone. Mm-hmm. And that is because they're easy to discredit. They're vulnerable. You know, oh, it's just an old crazy cat lady. You know, who's gonna listen to her?
Right.
And maybe they're not able to discern. So, you know, if they're listening out there, stay strong and keep your wits about you and don't fall for these traps. Right.
That's what it is.
It's not all just, you know, and maybe the men that they target are, you know, attractive people that have influence over people. Maybe they know how to manipulate people and they have knowledge that they aren't supposed to have, you know. Mm-hmm. Or they pissed off corporate entities like me. They dated their daughters. You know, there's an endless amount of possibilities.
Oh, I pissed off a whole lot of people. You name it, and that's why I pissed off. The things I talk about on my blog, and for the agents, it's landscurve.com. Feel free to go there and leave scathing comments. It's okay. I love it.
I will do so.
I'm not saying no. You can do it, but I'm just saying they can leave scathing comments and or comments on the YouTube videos, or I've had check your YouTube channel too, man, because I've had it where I've had thousands of views go on a channel within 5 minutes, and then the next week that same exact amount is removed. How do you remove views off a YouTube channel? So you're being tampered with. I have videos that might have 50 thumbs up, but 30 views. How does it happen?
Unbelievable.
Right.
Yeah. Right. All the communications are gamed, because this is sophisticated technology that I think is, doing most of the coordinating the harassment and whatnot, and making it so easy. But yeah, I've noticed all of my communications are gamed. Totally. I mean, they won't let me get close to real targets. They'll make my messages disappear. Like you said, the views on YouTube, I've had that.
Yes.
Just to basically troll you.
Yeah.
They can't get a response from you in person. If you can ignore the organized stalkers, if you can ignore all the sensitization that they put upon you, if you got a pretty level head, you can see through it. You're in warrior mode. They're going to provoke you online.
Right.
Because it's easy to them. If they can't, perfect. So it's relentless, it's endless, and yes, they send trolls, out to try to discredit you. I got so many people trying to discredit me on YouTube, and they're just proving my point further. I mean, each time one of these people makes a video about me or says something bad about me, you're just proving my point that I'm doing something
right.
Seriously.
No, I actually had a couple of years ago, a young lady called my wife and went into detail about what her and I did the night before. And she didn't realize that I was with my wife the night before.
Wow.
And she went into detail, and my wife just, or she was saying different things that I'm doing, or whatever it was. I pretty much forgot what it was. But my thing is, how did they get my wife's number? My wife is not out there like that. You know, my wife comes on the show with me sometimes, but she doesn't have a Facebook page. You know, she doesn't have Twitter. She doesn't put herself out there. You can Google her, and she doesn't have stuff out there. And she will never have stuff out there. We're going to be doing endeavors with her online, and I'm running the social media. And if they want to, she'll see things if, whatever. Hey, come here, honey, look at this. But it's me running it, you know? So.
That's super freaky.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. So you have to, I had a dude get on the bus with me sometime last year. It was less than a year. And he got on, he looked legit, you know, clean and upstanding, to be intelligent and whatever. And he hit the fare box a couple times and stood there like he was getting his change. And I'm like, why did you tap it like that? You know? So he acted like I was someone else. He says, oh man, I thought you were the other driver, so and so, just to start the conversation. He says, hey man, you know, my name is so and so. You know, I said, okay, nice to meet you. I didn't tell him my name. Nobody on the bus even said my name. So he said, listen, let me ask you something. Are you a traveling man? Now I know what that means. You know, that's a Masonic thing. To if you don't know what's going on, you're like, well, yeah, I went to Aruba last year. I went to Japan 2 years ago, and they're like, oh, this fool, he's not with it. So for him to just come out and the way he tapped and the way he was looking, my spirit told me there was something up with him. I said, listen, I'm not a traveling man. Even though I physically travel, I know exactly what you mean by that. I'm not a Mason. So it stopped him.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah. So then he looked and he says, well, do you have anything against Masons? He said, there's a lot of things on YouTube out there speaking against us, but we're good people. And I said, well, I'm never doubting that there's some good people. I know good people who are in it, but they may not know what's going on a higher level. And I said, okay, let me shut my mouth, right? So then he tried to convince me, and I'm putting this, I really don't care, because I'm blackballed by many of them here, but I still chug along and I'm living well. I'm a man, right? More power to whoever wants to group up and do whatever, as long as you're not hurting anybody else. But I'm a man and I'll stand on my own 2 feet. That's the way I was raised. I was raised by a real strong father, strong mother who supported him, a strong household, and I'm a man. I'm not saying you're not a man if you're in that. I'm not knocking you for what you do, but don't think anybody can put in my head that I need something external when I know that there's God inside of me. That spiritual GPS system that will guide me. But when we remove that and start looking to everything else, that's when we get duped. But the funny thing about this story, he went on and on about the benefits and this and that, and he gave me his card and tried to say, hey, just keep an open mind. Why don't you come down and check us out? We're going to be doing this function, whatever. And I said, okay, I'll keep your card. And I remembered his name, and I checked it out online. But at the end of the conversation, he shook my hand. He pushed that. Look, I'm not going to shake your hand in a kind of funny way of something I don't know. But he shook my hand. He said, Lance, it's been good talking to you. How did you know my name?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And that reminded me that when you said they slip up.
Yeah. Well, that not only that, maybe that wasn't a slip up. They're extremely arrogant.
Right.
They're kind of the all-seeing eye.
Right.
If you climb the ladder, you got the sub-organizations like, Elks, Moose, Rotary, stuff like that, and then you got, the Blue Lodge, who they're do-gooders, man. They do things for the community, quote unquote.
That's a good cover, though.
It's a great cover.
Mm-hmm.
It's an excellent cover for what's going on higher up, and I talk about that a little bit in one of my latest videos on YouTube, which I'm sure stirred up a lot of crap.
Give everybody your channel so they can follow it. Speak it out.
You just search my name. It's just James Harken, Harken, and my little icon is me backpacking with the mountain, the mountain landscape. But
yes.
The Masonic groups, I'm glad you addressed that. And the Are You a Traveling Man? That is a greeting to see if somebody is a Mason or not. So if anyone is listening that doesn't know what that means, that's what that means. They have certain handshakes, where they'll if you're not a Mason, it's kind of like a mockery. They'll grab your hand kind of loosely and squeeze your middle finger knuckle. It's very bizarre. It's a lot of ritualistic type of stuff that they do, and it's like that I've been also asked sort of in a way, like recruited, like, oh, you should come check out the lodge, and I'm not stepping foot in the Masonic lodge.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I don't want to join the club. I know what you guys are involved in. You guys you're still terrorizing me, I don't want any part of it.
That's like you going to the slaughterhouse to hang out before you get slaughtered. Well, come on and see,
Right.
We plan on slaughtering you next week, but, come have a few drinks with us and whatnot.
Right.
Right.
With it.
But like I said, whatever your faith is, whatever you call God, if you believe in a higher power, it's not about that right now. To me, like I said, you have man's order and you have the divine order, and they're trying to strike fear in you under their order, where you can keep your order and go to hell with it. Man's order. The economy can crash. You can keep me out of whatever exclusive places you deem to be exclusive, because out in the woods it rains, seeds drop, plants grow, fruits come out, vegetables come out. I can eat, and I don't have to pay anything no mind. And that's my direction. You understand? So I'm not seeking. Number one, you kill off their hold to you when you kill off the desire that you might have to be what they would call higher up in this world or status in their world. And they really got you then, because if you working hard because I want this promotion and I got to have this big house, and appreciate what you have, because you have life now, you might not have it tomorrow. That
was beautiful. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you. I have no scripts here. It's from the heart.
They need to leave this, whatever this is, on the brown noser level, at the street level, the social level, this social activity, that they're participating in. I know it has a lot of social benefits, but we're losing humanity the more who participate in this thing, and put the phone down. Go outside, man. They're soulless in nature, and the good people that are involved in this, that participate, they need to realize that there's a lot more to this, than this addictive ultimate sport of hunting humans, basically. And it's just adult bullying on steroids. We're dealing with a bunch of cowards with smartphones that are basically the cool kids at the lunch table, and we can't sit with them. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
It's childish. It's so childish.
Well, I'm really enjoying my inner hermit. I can be an extrovert and I can be that introvert and love it. I mean, I'm really more of an introvert. People don't really realize that. I've got that extreme side and I love people, right? But yeah. I can quickly, if you put it this way, it's like not being invited to the party. If you cut me off and cut me, hey, no problem. I'll have my own. I'll come home and I enjoy myself by myself. So if you want to act funny, I'm having even more of a ball because I'm so cerebral, and I'm going to execute and exude and do what it is that I do. So we've got to depend on that. We can't always look for the answer outside. These people, we got to know that most people, they work so hard to appear as though they have it together. They work so hard, and we look at them like they're the answer, and they don't even know, So cultivate that strength inside of yourself. Understand what is truth for you. Live by it. Test it. If something's wrong, tweak it. But you have a long life to understand what this life is all about. And we really get involved in things unnecessarily that really waste our time and take us away from the things that we have to do to get ready for the next level. There is a next level. This life is only but a short time. This is a pit stop for eternity. So
That's right.
These evil entities know that they only have time on this level. They can't touch you on the next level, no matter what little prehistoric order that they want to make. They can't carry that with them to the next level, because you're born alone and you die alone. Nobody's going to save you. You ain't going to go to the Creator with no secret handshake. You're not going to go to them acting like you got some. The Creator is the all-seeing eye. You got stars that we look up in the sky and see light. Those stars are gone because they might be 1,000,000 light years away. 186,000 miles light travels in a second. And these things are so far, it's 1,000,000 light years, not a light minute, not a light hour. Look, a light 10 seconds is a long way. 1 second, 186,000 miles. And those stars are gone, and they're so far away that the light that they were shining off is still traveling, but the actual source is gone. And you mean this little Johnny come lately on this planet, a man who lived a few years, adolescence, looking at nudie books, and all of a sudden he's a grown man, he holds down a job, and all of a sudden say, I'm responsible now. Now I joined something and I know all. No, you don't know no damn all. Tell me the minute that you're going to die. Show me how you can come back, right? Predict the future. Give me the next lotto numbers, and then maybe I'll join you, right? But you don't know nothing. No more than me, except let's group up and act like we know something over and make it exclusive. Well, go ahead, but I'm not going to get into a pissing contest with anybody. Because I look forward to transition because I'm trying to make myself more and more pure. I'm not perfect, The other day I was on the computer and some porn popped up, and I was like, I ain't gonna lie, I looked at it for 2 minutes like, whoa, look what she's doing. I'm human! But I'm not evil toward anybody. Talk to me, brother.
We're born sinners, absolutely.
Yes.
And we're not our worst moments. And I think that, on these slander websites or these secret apps or whatever, I think, all of our worst moments are showcased, and there's a narrative.
Yes.
It kind of follows this narrative, if it's this game, that, we're this bad person and we did this, or we're suspected of this, so we are this. Well, that's absolute horse shit, pardon my French.
Mm-hmm.
It's and the truth, the true spiritual truth is within yourself. As far as that's all I got to say about that. It's not in a Masonic lodge. It's not in a Christian, Catholic, or a church or a synagogue. It's within you. It's totally within you.
That's right.
And we're not our worst moments. I want to reiterate that.
Mm-hmm.
People that are involved with this evil, that have participated in it, get out. You can still get out. I know it's not like the mafia, but something's got to give, because it's only going to get stronger and stronger. And people don't realize that the longer that it goes on, the more who participate and enable this type of behavior, this abuse, terrorism, it's just going to get worse.
Right.
And these people don't realize that if they're on social media, that the agencies that develop this technology, they have already built a psychological profile on them. They are ready to flip that technology on you at the drop of a hat.
Mm-hmm.
But just because they're with the good guys, per se, for now, doesn't mean that 20 years down the road, when the elites, that made this tech and are using it for evil, are going to say, hey, let's clear out the next round of just normal people that aren't whistleblowers, that didn't get placed in the program for revenge or for knowing too much about a Fortune 500 company. I mean, it can be used on anyone. No one is exempt.
Right. Right. But the one thing I do know that it's almost like these ads, where we have to get used to this technology. You go to a brand new website that you've never been to before, and that thing that you ordered last week, things similar to it pop up in the ads. So they can kind of predict your trajectory. So this is why I keep my movements staggered. Sometimes I'll not plan on going anywhere, and then I'll just up and go somewhere specific out of nowhere. There's no way you're going to know. There's no way you're going to read my mind. I know that there was a passage in a book that I read, and it was a Christian-based type thing, but it was pretty much hardcore about spiritual warfare and demonic entities. And it basically said that these demonic entities can whisper thoughts in your head that you'll grab onto, but basically it can't read your mind, but it can understand your movements and what you're more apt to do, what you're into, and like you said, your weaknesses, whether it's drugs or women or crime or some type of gambling or alcoholism or whatever it is, it knows where you'll go. You know what I mean? So while I love my wife and I don't plan on doing anything wayward that would break her heart, what would be the first thing that you would think after knowing me, that it ain't going to be coke, it ain't going to be crime, it would be a woman. But no, I watch for that, and I keep myself out of those situations. But those entities, they know. And I do believe, and I had some experiences that let me know that many of these secret orders at the higher levels are demonic, right? And it trickles down. Look, there was a man who was into certain things. We already talked about it, so I'm just saying it that way, so nobody quotes me. But he passed away, and I knew he was into those certain things. And he was an elderly man, and when he died, he didn't die in his home or even in that same city. His family out of town took him over, and his wife went with him, and his house was empty. And so every week, I think a family member would check up on to make sure everything's okay and get the newspapers and the mail and everything like that. Well, some of the neighborhood, youngsters who had not much to do caught on to that. So, it wasn't too hard to get into this man's house. And this was back in the 1980s, before we had all of this easy security systems that we can buy and put it in ourselves and check through phones. I mean, phones were just big. Looked like shoes. They were so big back in the day. It was like $1,000 a day to keep a cell phone. That's the way it felt to me. But they got in this house and they rambled through stuff and didn't see much, but they brought out some of the books that he had on the higher levels. And this man was pretty much up there. And
in like a Luciferian cabal, or
yes, that's what they saw. And I didn't see this myself with my own eyes, but one of the men in that neighborhood, and this wasn't my particular block. Long story, I ran a beauty parlor with an old girlfriend, right? And one of the shop owners next door to that, me and him were close, and he knew the man. And so when those kids brought those books, and they were fascinated, like, wow. It had illustrations, not pictures, but drawings of different demons with the different names. Hey, I don't know. I'm not saying. I'm only saying what I heard and what they said was in there, and I know what he was into. I saw the badges on his car. So what is that? What is that? Leave your comments and let me know. I mean, I'm not sharing some secrets that I'm supposed to be sworn, because I'm not in that. All I'm saying is that that's what I heard. So I do know that anything like that or similar on the lower levels, you don't know what's on the next level, but you're moving in faith. And they use the right language, the creator, the architect, this to that. Light. What light? Satan was an angel of light, wasn't he? And I heard he got down with some good jams with the music, right? So there's a lot of things that are appealing to us that seem good, but it's not good. Look, your vegetables and food that's good for you sometimes doesn't taste good as a trip to Wendy's, now doesn't it? Right. But Wendy's food will kill you quick, right?
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And it's this whole mentality, of like just the way everything is so hypersexual, nowadays, and they've turned, with online dating apps like Tinder and OkCupid and stuff like that, they've turned love into a game. They've made that a game. That's pretty much, how you find your boyfriend or girlfriend nowadays if you're 20-something.
Right.
And it's just like that, like the culture we live in, the instant gratification, the consumer culture, let's go to the bar every night, blah, 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 whatever. It's all self-promotional this, self-promotional that, selfies every day. Everything's on display. Life's just this big game,
Yeah, it's a projection. We don't have to push now to strive to be that better person. We don't have to push now to clean up our diet, to clear up our complexion. We can Photoshop ourselves. We don't have to, lose weight. We just have to lay on our back where the weight pulls back and take the selfie that way in the right light. We can take 1,000,000 selfies until we find the right one to make us look good. Look, I got some teeth missing right here. I got some razor bumps right here. You know what I mean? I've been shaving my head when I had a full head of hair. But when it started to grow out, I realized that, wow, I better keep shaving my head because I got a little mohawk going on right here. But I'm realistic with that. We're going to pass. We're going to leave. I'm not the man that I used to be. I don't need Viagra, but I might be looking for that stuff in 5 years. No, I'm not. No, it ain't going to happen. But so many people, like you said, they caught up in this. I mean, look, and I always say this before. Say it again?
I said it's just pure madness.
Yeah, but check it out. Growing up, even if we only had, $1 in our pocket, which $1 back in the 70s, early 70s was a whole lot of money, rolled up in your tube sock, and you're out there playing with your friends. And even when a group of guys, we were sitting around bored, but we were glad to be around each other. Pure, wholesome times where socially we learn how to communicate, we learn how to feel, we learn to enjoy each other's company without all of the sensationalism and stimulation. And let's check the TMZ app. Who's sleeping with who? What's up with the Kardashians? All of this other stuff, right? So, we had memories. I have friends of mine that we've been friends since 71, 69, 73. And we talk to this day about gut-busting jokes that we had way back. That the joke back then was so funny, we tell it again and we're cracking up.
It's
so
beautiful.
I'm asking everybody that there's so much into the social media. LOL. They're not even laughing and they put LOL. Call me on the damn phone and let's really laugh. Right? What memories are these kids going to have, right? When they look back, they're going to say, well, we were texting each other. That day we were. No, that's not a memory. That's why they're social misfits.
Right. They're being, there's a lot of deception, and it's being pitched as, oh, this is this new fun thing. You're being deceived, man.
Right.
I'm telling you.
Right.
Know? But they don't even realize it, and there's just the amount of cognitive dissonance for the people that actually do have a conscience and morals and maybe, are more free thinkers that are involved, participants, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The cognitive dissonance must be unreal. I can't even imagine, But free. You can still break free.
Wow. I'm convinced that not every human form you see on this planet is a human being. I'll take it a step further. Call me crazy. I'm convinced that when they say that, and I've had experiences where I've seen things that were not quite of this level. They just dropped by. I don't care. Think I'm crazy. I spoke on it before. But I think now it's so brazen to the point that, let me get lewd for a second and explain something, fellas. Sometimes you see that girl, that woman, with the perfect ass, and you look and you say, oh my God, and it punches you in the face. You so bedazzled that you're at the stop sign and you treat it like a stoplight waiting to change. And you just knew that the one you saw last week was the perfect one, but this topped that one. And the one last week topped the one the week before, and it never ends. I believe that some, and I'm not demonizing women because it could be a man thing also, but I'm quite sure that at this point, after CERN has been released all of the dark matter and the portals to hell and released demons across the face of the earth, I'm convinced that some of these demons that are shapeshifters can shift their shape to be very appealing to you, and they walking out here in broad daylight with us. Because, again, about a year and a half ago, I had to call up my wife. I was at work. I was driving the bus, and it was a daytime. Listen, y'all, I don't get high. I don't really eat anything unless it's out of this home prepared by my wife's hands. If I'm in the racist part of town and I'm hungry and I want to go to a restaurant, I'll hit off a white guy with $10 and say, listen, go in here and order me some food. And give it to me after. Nobody's spitting in my food, right? If I have to do that. But there are some people that one day I was driving the bus and I was coming toward the end of this route, and it wasn't a busy part of the day, and it was actually a slow day, okay? And one person got on, and it was someone that I knew, but she kind of had an attitude with me. Nothing serious, but she kind of found out what I do online and didn't like my opinions and didn't like what I do. So it's like, oh, you're not the man I thought you were. So it's like, okay, no problem. She got on the bus, but I kept my eye on her because she's a gossip. Another guy, white guy, got on. He sat down. The bus was full. We came toward the end of the route. You always look up in the mirror, the reflection. And I saw her feet, and I saw this man in the back. And usually they get off at the Walmart, and there's one more stop before my layover where I sit for a long time. You're not coming to the last stop where there's nothing, right? So as we approach Walmart, when I turned the corner, they were sitting there in the daytime. And again, if you want to think I'm crazy, feel free. I'm happy in my craziness, right? I turn around because usually they pull the bell. People will pull the bell for the Walmart stop, or they'll say something. So I was going to stop anyway, but I turned around. I said, man, they didn't pull the bell. I turned around. There was nobody on my bus.
Whoa.
Nobody.
Whoa.
I'm not crazy. And I'm not even going to think I'm crazy. I say it and joke and all that stuff, but I know what I'm dealing with. Those things tell you something. You ever see somebody in broad daylight or in the darkness, or a stranger in public with other people, and they freak you out? You know that this person is something up with them, and they look you in your eye and they know you know?
Absolutely.
It gives you the chills because your spiritual discernment, I'm not talking church discernment. I'm talking about that connectedness that when an animal sees you out in the wild, he checks you out. Now, he's going to run anyway. But if you evil, the minute you make a motion toward him, he's running, right? But if you're a kind, loving person, he might let you get a little closer before running off, especially if you have some food. That's the way it is.
No, those supernatural experiences are real, 100%. And I don't want to connect that to any of this, this organized stalking. But, I mean, it's evil in nature. It's evil. People are losing their lives. People are committing suicide. Active shooter Myron May, active shooter Aaron Alexis, Gavin Long, all of these young men, these are all young black men, mind you.
Yeah.
All of these men, they were put into this counterintelligence program, this terrorism game, whatever you want to call it. They were victims.
You know, Gavin Long and me knew each other, right?
Wow, no, I did not.
I interviewed him before. He reached out to me in October of 2015, and just as a guy who had books that he wrote. And these books were actually reading one of them. He wrote several books, but he sent me one, and his mother sent me the other one. And I said it this way on one of the other shows this week. I said it, and it's funny because I told my wife, I said, listen, we're going to have to share the contents of this book. I'm not trying to make any money from it, but I'll take maybe a page and read it every other show. But after reading the book, when I skimmed over it, now I can see why he had to die. Now, I don't know now. They say that, well, he killed the 3 officers. And who knows? They said he had PTSD. This guy was brilliant, smart, and wise. I mean, he was definitely a threat. Then all of a sudden, I find this out, and I did a live show when it happened, not knowing it was him. And all the media. I mean, I don't want to go down the list with all of them. I ended up on the Dr. Drew show. The clip is on my site and on my YouTube channel under the interview section. And they wanted me to give this glowing thing about, like, if, I could have stopped him and this and that. But they had the graphics made already. And once I realized what it was all about, I did shows before that particular showing to offset what they were going to try to make me say or kind of corral me into saying. I really understood. Wow. So after that, I had other issues online. But I'll put it this way, and I'm not into, well, I'm famous now. I'm not out here to be famous, man. I'm home, man. I must have scratched my toes about 12 times since we did the show. See? My foot, I got no shoes on. But I'm relaxed. This is what I do. But there are other YouTubers who, they follow stories like this. And they're very competitive. They're very envious, and you get a little shine, and they hate it. And I said, let me see if they cover the story since my name is all over it. And they didn't touch it. So this lets me know that there are YouTubers out here who are paid to feed out and send out disinformation or keep certain factions of the community. Let's pick the black YouTubers now. A lot of those guys are agents. A lot of those guys are there, and they're very popular. They put the ratchet stuff out and irrelevant stuff out. to keep not just black people, but you have other factions and other races and cultures, and they work collectively to keep the distraction going so your mind is not in what it should be in across the world to know what's going on. So when I saw how they always talk about a cop shot this one, and this one called me nigger, and this one called me this, and so now this is a big story. Let's see if you do something with it. No, because you're not going to cover it because we're not connected, right? I'm independent, and I speak my mind, but you're controlled. And you can't bring attention to me. See? So I understand it. I understand it.
Army of disinformation shills out there just spreading propaganda and horse shit. It's ridiculous. And yeah, that's incredible. Good thing you weren't associated with it at all. But I'd like to reiterate that those three young men, you know, they did commit acts of violence because they were pushed to the edge.
Right.
And they were intelligent.
Very.
They were charismatic.
Yes.
And this is what our government does. They don't want messiahs. They don't want that. You know, they don't want people who have good nature, you know, to influence other people. The agendas of the powers that be are sinister, man, and they're evil. And people don't realize that. You know, they want to think, oh, yeah, my government loves me. They don't love you. Okay?
Well, brother, look at yourself at your age. I'm not saying your age like you're some baby. You're 24 years old. And I was always a smart kid, but damn, I mean, I wish I had your sense 30 years ago when I was 24 years old. You know, you're definitely a target because you're so far advanced. So understand that. Now, if you were out here and just speaking on a carnal level, they're coming after you for a reason.
Right.
And you know the reason.
Yeah. And that's the thing. They want to divert you. They want you to keep you guessing. And, you know, whatever. I was placed in this program, you know, it was exacted upon me for revenge, which is typical. And the Masons, they're very big on revenge. They don't have forgiveness. It's all about revenge, you know, ritualistic revenge.
Right.
Death. You know, which is just so sick, you know. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, if you are in this program, you know, and you know the reason why, and you can discern and you can navigate this horror, this evil that they put us in, they're doing it for a reason. You know? And if your surveillance and your harassment is 24/7 and as intense as it is for me, there's something special about you.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah, take it as a compliment.
Something.
Right.
Yeah,
you know.
Exactly. You got to embrace your mission because I haven't heard of this not many people get taken out of this program unless they turn coat and they become harassers.
Right.
You know, or they become disinformation shills and they spread propaganda. And I won't do either of those.
Right.
And no, if you're a target, you know, sometimes they give you an out, but there's not always a way out, and you're going to have to be a warrior, man, you know?
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's what I was born to be. That's deeply embedded in my makeup, and I'm going to always speak truth. You know, the other day I had someone come at me and said, oh, you have to take down your logo, which was created for me. Well, you know, they basically said that me pointing my finger to my head was Masonic and the lines coming from my head and the light that I said I had nothing to do with that. I sent my buddy a picture and he does graphics for cable television and you know, news programs, the graphics that they have to make quick because something happened and they got to have a guy to make these things quick. And so he's excellent at what he does. And you know, he does some work for me. My custom graphics are not off the rack. You know, some of them are, but those that he's done are customized. And I said, listen, you know my style. You know what I'm all about. I leave you creative control. I'll give him some suggestions, but he's excellent with that. So I gave him several photos, and he picked the one with my finger on my head this way. And he went to work, and he put scurv and put this and that. And I took I took the still shot because it has the scurv, you know, thing there, and it has a picture of me. I said, you know, that'd be kind of cool to use it because I am my brand. You know, I don't sell shoes. I don't sell dresses. You know, I don't do any consultations, even though I end up doing a lot at night anyway from people who call, which I welcome, you know. So I left it up there. I got, within a week's period, there were 15, 20 people out of nowhere. You're a Mason. I'm like, no, I'm not. Yes, you are. I see the hidden so-and-so. And they were trying to influence other people to make them think I was into something that I'm not into. Like I said, I'm not knocking y'all. You know, if we're to have some type of confrontation down the road, if that's what's deemed to be, fine. But I'm living my life. You're not stopping me. I'm loving my life. Fine. Maybe, you know, I get blackballed. Yes, I understand that. But I know how to live. I'm too shrewd. I'm very disciplined and focused. But don't come now and try to smear my character by something like that. And
yeah, that's the type of stuff they do, man.
Right, right.
Discredit you, you know, shift your audience. You know, they accuse me of being a quote-unquote perp, and I'm a Mason and all this, and bullshit, you know?
Right,
okay,
right.
I wouldn't be on YouTube. You think I got better? I'm 24 years old, okay? I should be out there living my life, but now I'm put in this horrible situation. You think I would be wasting my time talking about these topics, these super controversial topics on my YouTube channel, if I was a fake person? No.
Right.
I wish I was getting paid for this. Okay, I got about, you know, 50 to 100 bucks to my name currently. They don't make it easy for you to make money.
Right, right.
You know what I mean?
Right, right.
I mean, and that's the thing, like, they will, it's just so unbelievable, just the lengths that they will go to drain you financially, spiritually, emotionally, the character assassinations, the slander and the smear campaigns. They will do anything to discredit you, because once you're put in this program and you see the world for what it really is, and you see this shadowy Masonic force that kind of has a hold on everything, you're a threat, and you know info that now they're going to have to take you out to discredit you for. So it's like ultimately, by fighting back or fighting passively, whatever, maybe not even doing anything at all,
right,
you're still blamed. You're still a scapegoat. Oh, well, you know this, so blah, blah, blah. We have to still continue what we're doing.
Right,
you know?
right.
You're always the bad guy. You know, it's unbelievable.
A couple weeks ago, I have a situation down around my job, you know, and there's some people who, you know, I'm crazy, right? I had to be in the area. I put on my work uniform and kind of walked through the bus depot, and they're looking like crazy, like, you don't work here today. You know, I do stuff like that. I had to make one quick run close by, and I would, you know, and I acted like, you know. So, you know, I mess with them right on back, but it doesn't dominate my world. But, you know, you have to keep, you just don't know. So instead of me not knowing, let me do something so they don't know. If I don't know, you're not going to know either. You know, how can, the only way you can come at me is when you know I have to do certain things. But other than that, you don't know. I might turn around and go to the beach after we get off this show.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, I can't stress that enough. If you're a target, your biggest ally is yourself and being spontaneous. Totally being spontaneous. I mean, don't make any plans. I mean,
right.
if you make plans, expect for them to be sabotaged, you know?
Exactly.
Expect for them to set up some street theater or whatever the hell they do. Just be spontaneous, but, you know, still be health conscious, have a good routine, a hygiene routine, but be spontaneous, you know? Don't shop at the same store.
Right. You know? Leave your phone home sometime.
Yes.
Use somebody else's phone sometime. I'll pay a person. Listen, you don't know me. You can dial it. I just want to say, put it on speaker. I want to say something.
Right.
What are they going to do? Surveil every phone out there?
Right. Right. I mean, yeah, and where our communications are gamed, bugged, whatever. But yeah, throw them diversions. You know, make their job harder than it needs.
Make those bastards pay overtime like a mother.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Because they know people don't even realize that they're lowjacking themselves when they keep their phone on them. Nobody knows where I'm going. Yes, come on, you got it on you. That's lowjack, man. They know where your phone is. They know where you went. Trust me. If they hand us this technology as a hand-me-down, This stuff has been around from a long time ago. Like I said in the other show, look at Captain Kirk with his communicator. Well, what do you think that is? They knew that stuff was coming. They probably had it back then, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
The military and stuff. So when they hand us something, check it out. Could you imagine what they have now?
Absolutely.
If we know that we can go on Google Earth and it's crazy, man. Google Earth and go down certain streets and see people standing there. It's like, wait a second. How'd they do this? You know?
Yeah.
I had the other day, I was in my backyard. Thank God I had my clothes on this time. And there was a police helicopter that, you know, sometimes things happen and they fly around or they might be on their way somewhere. This bad boy was coming. You heard it. And then it was, you know, I didn't even look because it's like, okay, it's going to keep on going. It was pretty high up. Then it got lower. Then it got closer to where I live. Then it got real low. May God be my witness. My wife was right there. I got up because I don't like things being over me like that. So I got up and got to the sun porch. And I'm like, what's going on? This thing hovered over my house really low, where if I went outside, I could probably see the stuff in the corner of the eye of the person who was flying it. And then he turned around and they kept going. I was like, to give me a message or what?
That's all, you know, because, you know, they can't provoke you in person or whatever. They can't mess up your show. So they're going to do flyovers. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just the most fantastical tactics imaginable, you know, and they go to great lengths, you know, and they have unlimited funds and power and resources.
Right.
And yeah, I get the flyovers too. You know, it's like, if I go out, you know, and I'm out in public, you know, and they can sabotage me there, and they do, then I'm not going to get the flyovers at my house late at night or whenever
right.
in the afternoon.
Right.
But if I stay home,
right,
and I don't go out and they can't provoke me in person, I'm going to get helicopters, drones, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's like they just get at you any way that they can. It's just total 24/7. Trying to dismantle you. They
better fly that drone good if they fly it over my house, because I'm going to throw something and knock you. I'm going to get it.
Hey.
And I'm going to come in here and do a live show and see. Look at the drone. Let's break it down.
You should. Yeah.
Let's see who comes to get it.
You can shoot them down. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. The tactics are insane. I mean, you know, this is pitched to the public, and it's spearheaded by secret societies, Mason brotherhoods, etc., and they have this sophisticated tech. Okay, here it's this witch hunt. It's adrenaline. It's fun. It's exciting. It's profitable. But they don't see, you know, that there's the military-industrial complex is up under it.
Right.
You know, and they don't have your best interest in mind. So, okay, it's a fun little toy gadget for you now until it gets turned on you.
Right.
And then what? Then what are you going to do? It's not going to end well, man. I don't know. You know, this is not going to end well.
Well, like I said, Mike, okay, I intend to live a long, prosperous, healthy, spiritually centered life. They don't want that, because for me to be that way, it will be a light to others. And exactly. See, to me, these entities, not to go off too much on another area, but they know their time is limited. There's a spiritual awakening that's going to happen, and if you ask me, it already started across the planet, and they want to keep us dumb so they can remain in power, because when we wake up, their system falls down and their power is diminished. Yes, they may have bombs. They may have this surveillance. They may control what they call money, which is only pieces of paper. What if we all said we're all family, right? What if we said we're all family? Now, you know, some of the agents will say that too to get in. But if you come down here to Orlando, you got a place to stay and somewhere to eat. And if I come where you are, and we eliminate the money, right? We barter with each other. We're not afraid to step out of the system and not only watch it crash, but help it to crash faster. Because we really don't need it. We're just not organized. And that in itself, to me, is something that strikes fear in them. And again, like I said, I do feel that some of these people are not human beings. They have no souls. They don't mind doing what they're doing because they have no connection to the divine. They can't go. And that's what one of the things that Cosmo said in his book. And I'm kind of tempted to get up and go and read a piece because the book is in the next room. But basically, he was saying that there are different levels of our existence that are interconnected, but they are separate once broken down. And that when we transition, we'll understand how they're separate, the physical body, which is nothing more than a tool. It's actual dust. The Creator breathed the breath of life into it. Yeah. And so we worry about that, but that's what it is. And we have our spirit, we have our soul, we have our higher divine self. And that's where we really want to ascend to going to. And I believe many of these entities can't go there because they don't have the necessary components. And then why? Oh, you know what it is? Let's break it down on a not on a street level, but on a level that many can understand. These entities are like an inmate who has a life sentence hating on the person who is going to get released in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow, that's a great analogy.
They're not going anywhere. So no matter how much of a friend they were to you when you were in serving your time, now all of a sudden, wait a second, I'm going to be stuck here and you're getting out of here? But I enjoy your company? I'm going to set you up to catch another charge because of my selfish need to know that you're not going to be away from me. And I'm not saying it's a homo thing, but, you know, you're out there with women and food and free, and I'm locked up in here? Nah, you staying here. You staying here with me. See?
Yeah, that's a great analogy. That's exactly how it is. You know, okay, you're seeing the light, we're going to pull you back down. No, I don't think so.
Right,
you know?
right.
But
and,
yeah, that's an excellent analogy.
And when it comes to sin, understand what sin. You know, this is in general. I'm not saying any denomination or any religion, whatever. Let's just, look, whenever you say, and I've learned this personally many decades ago, whenever you say, listen, I got to stop this. This is consuming my life too much. I'm into this thing. And I'm going to be real. You know, like I said, I was into the women. You know, I have 2 or 3 women by the house, and I'm addicted to this activity. And, you know, I know better. I got to stop this. This is not right. There are diseases out here, but there's all types of spiritual things going on. But, oh, man, it was freakishly good, but I got to stop this. And then you stop it. You know, you go cold turkey. You go for months, you know. And then you eventually deal with someone on a balanced level, you know, a relationship that's good for you, where you care for the person and you're committed to the person and all of this stuff. And then the thought pops in your head and it lets the world know that you might be open for something, and something comes to you and it is so perfect. It's like, oh my God, look at her. She says the right things, and I don't want to go back on crack anymore. You know what I mean? It's not crack, right? But it's a form of crack. And why I say this, I've said all this to say this. Your first taste of that thing after you got off of it and conquered it for a time is sweet. It's sweet. You're like, why did I stop? I got to get into this thing again. It's so good.
Exactly.
And now you're pulled back down because now that entity doesn't want to see you free from it and doesn't want to see you ascend to a place on a spiritual level where they can't go.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So we got to conquer the carnal mind.
It's funny that you bring that up because when all this kind of came about, this targeting and whatnot, I had stopped a lot of destructive behaviors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it seemed to intensify when I stopped those destructive behaviors.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny, you know, and I've heard that from other targets too, like, oh, they put down drugs or, oh, they put down this or that. And then their targeting ramped up, you know, or like, oh, they dove into alcoholism and then their targeting calmed down.
Right.
It's like the evil is like, oh, okay, because you're on the road to destruction. So
right.
It's like, all right, we're just going to let you destruct.
Right. Let me just say, Chris Lissa, Humane Life, he just mentioned, he said he had visions of end times, and I can tell you this, they fear Christians and Hebrews. Let me add on to that, brother. I'm not a person who can quote. I'm not a pastor, a real pastor. They fear the real Christians or Hebrews or those who have. To me, that's a garment that falls off like a useless husk when you go to a higher level of spirituality. To me, right? But they fear those who are really and truly connected, right? And this is why those entities have infiltrated. Let's pick the church now, because we can pick any religion, but they've infiltrated the church so much that we don't know. Even though people say, well, Christ never said be a Christian. We understand that, but it's supposed to be a place where we're trying to go higher on a spiritual level, and we don't even know what we're looking at. We don't even know what a real Christian is no more, because that thing has infiltrated the church, and it's a business, and it's a facade, and it's so diluted. Yeah. You keep dropping water in that mug of lemonade, right? You got a full thing of lemonade, and somebody came over and visited you, and you realize they drank it down to 25%. You think it's going to be just as sweet when you fill it back up with water and not put the sugar and lemon back inside there? And when you do, it's not going to be in the same proportions. So you're like, this don't taste like mama's lemonade, because it's not anymore. Right. It's been compromised. It's been touched, right? It's been
stepped on.
Exactly. Yeah. So these places where they say this is the church and this is the church house, and we know how to go in like a marionette puppet. You got demons sitting up in there acting, praise the Lord, and acting, but what's inside their heart? So now it's fair game. I ain't trusting none of y'all until you show me what's inside your heart over time. Because you know what's what when you get a chance, and you're connected and they're connected. Let me tell you something. I've seen people who are about it, and eyesight and eye contact is very important. And we've been in places that were very quiet, and I never saw this person before. And I look across the room, and they look back across the room at me, and we look at each other, and we smirk, and we nod our head. We know each other. Don't know the middle name, don't know the social security number, don't know where you live, don't know what you do behind closed doors. I don't care. I know you. And it's a strong feeling. Not some, I think you are this way because you have a Bible in your hand. No. But it's a knowing. Like the dog that looks at you that's stray, and he looks at you like, and the animals are more on a spiritual level than humans, and we're supposed to have a higher mind. Isn't that something?
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, it's just that oneness. That's what it comes back to.
We're part of yes. We're all part of it. That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. White, black, brown, Jews, Muslim, whatever.
But we have to understand that. See? Yeah. And see, we still have to fight through those who keep it just there. You see what I mean? Because, like for me as a black man in this country and in this world, the stereotyping is there. The expectations of what is put out on a lower level is there. So I got to fight that. So even me fighting it, dealing with those who specifically do it to me, and the system that does it to me, I got to call it out. But you would be identified as Caucasian. So while I'm in the fight, it don't mean I'm fighting all white people. It's the ones who, and then we got the word we use in the black community called coons. And those are the ones who sell you out when you're on a righteous mission, right? So we got to call it out. And I have no problem for a Caucasian calling out what, if it's something, if I got an orange in my hand, it's an orange and an orange and an orange, no matter who says it or knows it. But we have things within the community, within our respective communities, but we're all joined in different ways. Look, you might be labeled as white and I'm labeled as black, right? But to a woman, she sees us coming down the street, she might say, oh, they're two men. I got to be careful. They might clutch the bag harder when they see me. You know what I mean? But they got to be careful. Now, me and you might be enemies. When we go to Japan, we find ourselves in Japan. Everybody, we don't know what's going on. Now, we enemies now. We look at each other like, man, we need to stick together because we both from America and speak English. Now we're Americans. Right? So the common denominator, we have so many different common denominators that we can look at. So I don't switch up, but I understand the inclusiveness of all of it, and I try to understand where every individual is coming from when I speak with them. This is why when they hear different shows that I've done, it's like, I heard this one show, and I thought you were this. And I saw this one show, and I thought you were this. And then, I'm not using the word to bash anybody in the LGBT community, but you had a show with faggots. What's up with you? You bisexual? No. We're on a level maybe connecting as a human being.
That's right.
There's different ways of doing it. So this is why I know I can reach anybody. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I'm not looking at it just one way. So many of us wear an armor for just one war that the next war comes. We're not equipped. We get beat down quick because we're not ready.
That's right. I agree. And this program, it doesn't discriminate. It's black people, it's white people, it's Jews, it's Muslims. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be placed on this watch list and organized stalked.
Right.
Okay? This is not, nobody's exempt. Okay?
Exactly.
I mean, unless you're like daughter of the director of the CIA.
Right.
Maybe then you're exempt.
But you know what?
Yeah.
A funny situation back in Camp Treetops back in 1974 or 75. I went to Camp Treetops in Lake Placid, New York. Long story, and I said it before. My father, had his own business. He rubbed elbows with affluent people. No, we weren't affluent, but they were. And they took to him and me, and I got a hookup where I got a chance to go to the summer camp where it was nothing but affluent people, right? So there was this one guy who I always had a problem with. I'm 11, 12 years old. Like I said, I went in the summer of 74. In the summer, it was up near Canada. It was a great experience, right? But also I had some experiences there that weren't too good, right? That there's this one guy who always had an issue with me. And one day I was brushing my teeth in the area where, we were brushing our teeth in because we had certain lean-tos and tents. And this was a really nice place over so much acreage. We had designated restroom areas where we'd get ready and shower and brush our teeth. I'm brushing my teeth. There's a couple of sinks around me. This dude walks up. There's a white dude, but it wasn't a color thing really, but I knew it was something more to it, right? He walks up to me and shoves me out the way, and the toothbrush jams up in my mouth, and it hurt me, man. And I'm like, and he moves me out because he ran and did it. I was a small kid, but I was strong, right? Always, but I was never a bully. So he did that. He had glasses on. I'll never forget it, right? So I walked over to him. I didn't punch him in the head, but I ran up on him, took my hand and shoved his head. So people who didn't catch it thought I punched him. So he really wasn't holding his head, but he fell down to the ground. And then I balled up my fist and I'm like, I don't care who you are. You're not going to do that to me. Something to that effect. You know who it was? It was Michael Rockefeller. So I was doomed from the Illuminati from 11 years old.
They had it out for you.
But you know what? That was a signature moment.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know. The other kids were like, "Oh, do you know that's Nelson Rockefeller? I think it's Nelson Rockefeller's grandson or son. I don't know, but son or grandson. I hear he passed away, and I heard that. From what I heard on some of the things, I never really followed up all the way, but he eventually came out as a gay man, and that's not why I knocked him down. He shoved into me. Maybe he didn't like the black alpha male that was standing next to him, right? But the thing is that. I think that they said that Nelson Rockefeller kind of like put a hit on him and because he was embarrassed that he was gay. Like, you're not supposed to be that. You're not going to be in this thing. And that's what I heard. But life is so interesting, man. Life is so interesting. Interesting.
That's a milestone for sure right there.
Yeah. This is just a brief encounter. I mean, he knew who he was, but he probably didn't absorb the magnitude of what he was connected to.
Right.
And I damn sure didn't. But I said, oh, Rockefeller, isn't that because he was the governor of New York State at the time, right?
Right.
I don't say like there's the baby Illuminati. Let's get him now. He's 11 years old. Follow him for the rest of his life. I'm just saying that was something that happened, and it's just ironic that that these people, they're human, some of them, and you just never know. But I do have a feeling that one day, at some point, on some level, we will know and understand what has gone on. People say, well, when you pass away, you don't know anything. I don't believe that. I don't believe that we have such a loving creator to make us in this perfect world that, yes, the world is perfect. Man jacked it up, right?
That's right.
Man put his hand all in it and messed it up and everything like that. But when you look at how the systems go, the seasons, our systems in our body in such a small place, circulatory, respiratory, all these different systems working, skeletal system, digestive system, brilliant. The seasons, we're on such a planet that is 75% water, and it's moving through space at a fast rate. And if you look at how years and years go by, aside from hurricanes and stuff, that shore by the beach is right there, and the beach house is just a few feet away from it. And for the most part, all of those countless thousands of miles of water and going down into the earth, unless it's a tsunami, nothing really bothered that house. So it's precision, man. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't believe that one who created all of that on this one little speck of dust, so perfect, in this broad universe, is going to make someone that we love and we're attached to and take it away where you'll never know and this. No, I don't believe that. I believe there's stuff we have to do to keep ourselves right, you know, living right.
Absolutely.
And submit to what the Creator wants. But I do believe that, not on this level, but on some level, there'll be a reunion and reconnection if we do what's right righteously. And I'm going to roll with that. You know, I don't think my God wants me to have fear like that. Yeah, fear the consequences of the stuff that you're not supposed to do, but you brought that on yourself. But not when you do right and some other boogeyman is trying to scare you. No.
That's
no.
right.
If you're right with God, you have nothing to fear.
Absolutely. And that's what we got right now. You know, it's like, okay, you're put in this program for whatever reason, whistleblower, political dissident, social dissident, corporate whistleblower, whatever, revenge, oh, you did something wrong. But you continue to do good, and these people, they don't stop. They have to follow this narrative that you're this horrible person, and they're constantly just conjuring up, you know, whatever they can find. And targets, you know, be careful, continue to be a good person. Most of you are good people, but know that they're going to use your good manners against you.
Right.
Ultimately.
Right.
But don't change who you are, because the goal is to, you know,
yes.
It's kind of a theory like, okay, you know, what happens when you put a good dog in a cage and you beat it? It becomes a mean dog.
Right.
You know, and that's kind of the goal here. You know, it's just total psychological destruction, altering of your personality. Don't lose sight of your faith. Whatever it is that you enjoy and you're passionate about, don't lose sight of that. Ever. You know, because that's what they want. And when they have that and they've altered you, you might not get it back, you know?
Right. And that's the thing.
They will stop at nothing.
And that goes with so many other things, too. You never, like if you go through a bad relationship and it's over, we can be bitter as human beings sometime, but for the most part, you don't want that relationship to have a victory over you, to change who you are, mess you up, to ultimately not get along with that person who's next, who really might be the one really intended for you. You see? So you got to protect yourself at all times and let people earn their way into your trust. You know, so many of us let people just in, like, come on in and I love you, and they force something. No, let it happen naturally. That mighty oak tree that you see at one point was something so small and so weak that you could have stepped on it and killed it and not even known it, you know? So cultivate that thing over time. That's the way I feel.
I agree with you 100%. And if you're a target, even be more careful, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, because of what we discussed earlier, the sabotage, the honeypots, all that. Keep your wits about you. But also, don't be afraid to have people, you know, kind of prove their loyalty to you, because you deserve it, dude. And if you're going through this, I know you've been sabotaged, terrorized, abused, tortured, and you deserve it. You deserve that proof.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the real right people in your life, they're going to show you who they are.
Right.
They will.
That's right. And they're willing to do so. You know, people who, like I said, if I walked up to you in the street like a shyster, right? Looking like a shyster, right? Appearing like one. It's like, hey, James, hey, look at this. I got some gold for you, man. It's real cheap, man. I got a necklace here that's worth $1,000. I'll sell it to you for $1. Now, that doesn't sound too right. But you know what? If you're going to try me and say, okay, it's worth $1,000, but you're going to sell it to me for $1, let's go on down here to the pawn shop and have this validated. Let's see if it's really worth that. And if I come out and say, well, you know, come on, man, you can trust me. I wouldn't do this to you. You can trust me. Nah. You know, if I'm selling you that gold for that price and it's worth that, I'm like, listen, before you even open your mouth, I'm selling this to you for this price. Let's go down and validate it. Now, the only way is if the guy in the pawn shop is in on it with me, right? So you might want to pick the pawn shop. But other than that,
that's right.
I have no problem with opening up and letting you know that if I'm sincere in my intentions to you, I'm going to let you know, and you will see it. I don't have to keep pushing it. And I don't mind you to continually check up on me. Just because you went to the doctor, a non-Illuminati government doctor, and he told you 5 years you were in perfect health, it doesn't mean that that's it forever. You got to keep checking up on your health and doing things to maintain your health. So now you go back and you caught something early because you kept checking. Well, in our friendships and our business relationships and our connections, you got to check things. And if they're righteous, they don't mind. And you'll talk things out if you have a feeling. It's like, listen, man, you were kind of pissed when I said this to the other person. Did that bother you any kind of way? Right? If they're a real friend, they say, yeah, it kind of did, man. And I'm going to tell you how. So if they're, oh, no, it didn't bother me. It's something festering up. And at a crucial point in your life, they may be in a trusted position and now sabotage you because they allowed their toxic feelings to grow. So a person like that, I got no problem with, I'm sorry for the profanity, I got no problem with cutting their ass off. I see it in you. You're not saying it, and I see you. You won't hear from me no more. You're dismissed.
Pull their card, check them, and you got to check people. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like people are just playing dirty little tricks on you left and right.
That's right.
You're in this world, you got to pull their cards sometimes, or just walk away sometimes.
Right.
That's okay. If you're a target, you got to be a little bit of a hermit sometimes and be okay with who you are.
Right.
Because you're going to be spending a lot of time alone.
Yeah, I love it, though. I love it. I mean, if you can't. Yeah, I do. Because it makes me a better person when I'm in front of people and around people, because I can only run my mouth this way because I spend time alone and reading and absorbing and in deep thought. There's no script. I don't have papers. You look at any one of my shows, it's not like, well, this is what we're going to speak about today. And number one, I don't have no teleprompter here. It's just shoot from the hip. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
You don't know what we'll be talking about. I'll tell you one thing. This week when they send the honeypots to me, I'm going to take pictures of them and share them.
Yeah, get it.
For real.
I was going to say, whatever, be cool with being by yourself sometimes. And like I said, that's okay, and sometimes it's even better, especially if your environment is a little sick and it's like mine where basically everyone around you is involved.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like you were saying, how you learn about yourself, but this program is horrendous, it's evil, it's atrocious. But before this program, I was on a highway to hell. I'll tell you that flat out. I was not living right, right? And I was playing around in a realm that I should have never been playing around in. And now, I experience horrible, dehumanizing acts of terrorism and vandalism, slander, burglary, drugging, you name it.
Right.
Horrible things have been done to me since I've been placed in this program.
Right.
But it has strengthened me so much, and it's given me just vast knowledge, and it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet.
Yeah. There are things about it that, like you said, the bittersweet thing. It's like it woke you up even more.
Right.
You probably wouldn't be here if it didn't wake you up, but you woke up to do and deal with a battle that, you probably would have ran away from before. So it's a bittersweet thing. It's medicine that's going to make you well, but it tastes nasty. So,
that's right.
In the long run, it's the best thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I probably would be dead, otherwise. It's really found me to search for who I am, what I enjoy,
right?
What life means to me, all that.
Yes.
This is a spiritual journey. If you're placed in this program, you're going to do so much soul searching. You're going to learn so much about yourself. You're going to have horrible things done to you. Everyone's going to turn against you. But there are benefits, you know, and what doesn't kill you will only make you stronger.
That's right.
And in the end, all of us, we're going to win, man. I mean, seriously.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. No doubt. No doubt.
These people, they could not walk a mile in my shoes.
That's right.
You know, they could not.
That's right.
I don't know what they would probably blow their brains out. that I've been through. I'm not even.
It's the truth. That's why they're bedazzled, and I believe that many of them who are on that side, they probably say to themselves, damn, I wish I was like that person. You know, when you're a coward, but you're a very powerful coward, or one who is empowered by something that you honor as having power, you don't feel that power. Because like I said, real men, and I mean mankind, women also, real men and women can stand on their own 2 feet, and they have the confidence of knowing that they've been through many trials and tribulations that have molded themselves into being the strong person, and they know what their resume holds, and there's no punk in them like that. When you know that you're the champion of the world, your world, we know the creator is the champion, but when you know that you've gone through everything and passed through every test with flying colors, that what battle are you bringing me now? It's like when my mother and my father passed away, it was traumatic to me at the time because I never went through anything like that. And it really hurt, and it still hurts. I still miss my parents, but the sting of death is less to me now because I've tasted a forkful of what's in that plate. I've been through breakups. I've been through looking in your bank account and for some reason you made a mistake that created a domino effect where all your money's out of it. I've been through being ridiculed and smeared and lied on. What can you bring me now? Right?
That's right.
So I'm a champion. You're a champion. When you get to a certain point in this life, you know you have what it takes to deal with the BS that they're bringing. So now what more? It's almost like the part in the Rocky movie. I think he did it in every movie, every Rocky movie, but there's that part where he's getting beat up bad. I mean, this is movie magic, right? He's getting knocked around the ring, knocked into the restroom, he comes back out, knocked into the parking lot, and after a while the music changes, dun, 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 and this is what he says. Is that all you got? Is that all you got? And then now he starts beating up on the person who was beating up on him. Well, you know what? I had so many moments like that from decades ago. Is that all you got? So now that's why you can make me a predator. If you come at me the wrong way, I'm not scared of you. You can make me the predator. You can isolate me. You can demonize me. You can't stop the fruits out there in the wild from growing. There's a couple little places by the side of the highway. I got a whole lot of watermelon patches out there nobody knows about. Like some people go out there and grow weed. I grow watermelon. I got it on my property, and I got spots where people don't even know. So try me. I'm going to eat.
I love it. That's awesome.
It's the truth.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm like, what else you got?
And you know what? At 24 years old, you're mighty. You know?
And that's the thing, too. Like, I've noticed most of the targeted individuals that are genuine and whatnot, like I said, there were like 70% women, you know, widowed, divorced, single, that live alone, easy to discredit, vulnerable, you know?
Yeah.
And then the other 30%, I think, like, a lot of the males, especially the ones that are targeted and are my age, I don't think they realize that they're targeted. Or I think that they might have so much pride that they would never disclose this to anyone because it's like, oh, like I'm being bullied, I'm being psychologically tortured.
They don't see the larger scope, the larger scale.
No, they don't.
They don't.
And it's like this attitude like, oh, nobody's touching you. Oh, well, you don't understand. You know, this is torture. It's no touch torture. And a lot of the guys that are probably young in the program, they either don't realize they're targeted or they won't speak on it because it's so embarrassing to them, or they're frightened or whatever. But I haven't met many young men that are in the program. You know, it seems to be older people. I must have really pissed somebody off.
and like I said, it's not always. There's a point. It's like this. We're in the physical body. We have our soul. We have our spirit. But there's a point where the spirit has to connect to the physical, unless we'd float on off. You know what I mean? You know, so there's a point where all of this does connect to the spiritual. The word spiritual doesn't always mean something good. It just means that plane. So you have good and bad in that plane. So to me, like I said, it's something that's here, but it's connected to something else that we, for the most part, with the human eye, can't see. Oh, but we have an eye inside of us, and I call it the third eye. It's cool to say it that way. It doesn't mean I'm into any strange religion. Christians will call it the Holy Spirit. You know, some people will say the gift of discernment, you know, whatever it is, that gut feeling, whatever it is. But you got to learn how to hone that. You got to learn how to cultivate that. Because when everything else is stripped away, and that's all you have, that's what's going to keep you alive. That sense of connectedness. See? And our Creator never fails us. But only we fail in our connection to our Creator. See? Creator's always there. The sun is always shining. It could be a bad rainstorm dropping down in Orlando, Florida. Now, if I didn't have sense of, oh, the sun left me, the sun's gone. There's no sun, what happened? No, the sun is on the other side of those clouds. But you can't let those clouds, no matter how intimidating they are, psych you out and make you think the sun doesn't exist anymore. Because there's somebody across town that might call you up and say, man, it's a beautiful day out here, but I'm looking over in your direction, and boy, you got a cloud over your house. But the sun is bright. So it's all a matter of your perspective. So even when you're under the gun and being attacked and being marginalized, you got to know that there's something more powerful than that thing coming at you. Over it.
That's right. That's right. And a lot of people won't make it out. You know, they'll either get entrapped or they'll end up like Myra May and those other people commit crime because they don't have the ability to discern. And, you know, the males, you know, I mean, it takes a lot for you. If you're being organized stalked, if you're being gang stalked, it takes a lot. If you're a man who has a little bit of pride, even a little bit, it takes a lot to not drag one of these people out of their cars and beat the fuck out of them. You know? I mean, in a lot of the dudes that are probably in this program, yeah, they don't have much spiritual faith. They don't have any faith, and they're just going to freak out and lose their mind or end up in the loony bin. And
Right. You had a question.
Don't do that.
There's a question directed your way from Chris. He wanted to know, and I cut the AC off so it doesn't blow down and make extra sound on the microphone because this microphone is very sensitive. But that's why you see me sweating like a hog. I'm over here. I'm about to go cut that AC on and see if I can, you know. But he wanted to know if you are Rh negative in your blood type. Because
I am not. There's a lot of disinformation out there that you're being gang stalked because you're a human
James,
hybrid.
I want you to continue talking. I'm going to step out, get something to drink, and put this AC back up because there are no windows in this room.
Yeah, that's cool.
But keep talking. I'm going to step away for maybe like 2 minutes.
All right, cool.
Okay, keep talking.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot of disinformation out there that, you know, oh, we're a part of God's elect. We're one of the 144,000, you know, Jesus Christ. No, that's absolute disinfo. You're not being gang stalked because you're Rh negative. You're not being gang stalked because you're God's child. This basically what happened was at some point or another, you crossed a secret society member or someone with Masonic connections. From my experience and all of the extensive research that I've done on this topic the past 11 months, it has conquered my life because it is my life. And I think I'm able to make that statement because I'm O positive. And there's tons of other people that are O positive that are being targeted, gang stalked, organized, stalked, and harassed in the community. It has nothing to do with your blood type. Sure, maybe they randomly targeted somebody who was Rh negative, who didn't do anything at all, to divert. You know, so then they'll go spread that disinfo. You know, there's so many diversions, but ultimately, you crossed somebody in a secret society and you got placed on a watch list. And that's it. Or you cross somebody who had government connections or connections with law enforcement, and they decided that you were expendable, and now they're going to put you in Pokemon Go, basically, and let everyone in the community have at you.
Right.
But the RH negative thing, yeah, that's complete disinformation.
Mm.
Is there something to RH negative blood? Sure. I think it's interesting, but no one is being gangstalked because they're RH negative, you know?
And, you know, this is going to get many comments, a lot of the things that we shared, especially with the things that you've shared. And this is what's going to help for us to continue talking. And,
All right.
you know, it was crazy because, no, I'm not stopping you. You're going to continue talking. I'm just saying ahead of time, I know that there are going to be folks in the comments section when this goes up as a video. He's wrong. He's this, he's that, or he's right, or whatever. You know, you're going to get that. And you're going to get the agents coming at you that have no profile or picture on their YouTube page and no subscribers or no activity whatsoever. That's how you see that it works, because I get a lot of honeypots every day trying to friend me half naked. The profile pictures, I'm like, my God, do you have any clothes on? Is that dental floss that you're wearing? You know what I mean? Is that a skirt or a shirt? You know? And
Yep.
they really want to kind of get in and see your activity, which, you know, sometimes you block things. I don't trust any of the social media anyway. I do it because of what I do for distribution purposes and to speak with the people that I know are near and dear. And, you know, I kind of categorize. You know, I know, you know, what's what and when you target that way.
Yeah.
And there's no privacy. There is no privacy.
Yeah,
Please stop thinking there's privacy, y'all. You know?
Yeah, there ain't no privacy. That's gone. That's been gone. That's been gone.
We're all porn to somebody.
That's what I'm saying. That's kind of sick to think about, you know.
And I don't mean just in a sexual way, you know, but,
right.
you know.
Fear porn, all that. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
I kind of had this theory, you know, that, you know, okay, this game, per se, these secret social networks, these slander websites, etc. Like I was saying earlier, how, you know, you can spectate, you know. If you didn't want to be a participant, well, maybe you could just spectate, and then this was like kind of like a modern-day Roman Colosseum,
Mm-hmm.
you know? I mean, it's genius. Think about it. And then the elites have entertainment, you know?
Right.
They're just sitting back laughing at all this, you know?
Right.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Right.
The Masons, they're huge on mockery, you have to understand. They do the Masonic face touching to mock you to your face, and they're big on mockery and revenge, and that's what this program thrives on, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
look,
hate.
they can be a voyeur on my life all they want. I'm going to be the best damn exhibitionist. They're going to be mad like, he's getting a thrill from this. We're not making him mad. He loves the attention.
That's how I feel. I'm like, any bad press is good press.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I always knew I'd be famous one day, you know, just not like this. You know?
Right. Well, you know, those of us who have that kind of thing going on, and it may not be fame where your name is up in lights down at Radio City Music Hall on 6th Avenue down in Manhattan, but you know that you're going to be crucial in something, right? And there are people who are not about or don't see, and we're all crucial, because I always like to say, when you open up a Swiss watch, you may see the faceplate and say, okay, that's the watch, but you don't understand what goes into making the watch and being such an excellent timepiece until you pull that faceplate back and see these microscopic pieces all working together in unison. And I won't go into the story of it, but you know the story of the mouth and the foot and the hand saying that they run things in the brain, and the anus comes in and says, listen, if I shut down, you all die. You know, so we're all crucial.
That's
you see?
right.
So, but we all have different positions that I won't say are more crucial, but are made to take more of a beating. Not that we're made just to take a beating, but it's our mission to pretty much be that stronger piece for the other pieces, you know?
I agree. Yeah, we're scapegoats, you know?
Yeah.
We're scapegoats, you know, and in this false flag world that we live in, you know, with all these false terrorist flags and all this bullshit, it just makes sense, you know, and we're the scapegoats for society's problems, you know. People, you know, they can log on, they can spectate, they can participate, and they can just project all of their fear and their hate and their anger onto us.
Right.
You know, with this harassing and look at our faults and then just blame and shame, and it's just so hate-driven. But it makes sense in a way. And, you know, I think this is what society has been dreaming of, you know, ultimately, this ultimate pastime now that it's become. But, yeah, we as targets, we have to be strong and expose this. And if you're a target, I encourage you to get on YouTube and make a testimonial. Explain your story, your experience with gang stalking, the tactics that they use upon you. You know, be strong, tell your story, and really voice it, and put it on YouTube if you have the courage.
Right.
Because the more people that come forward with this, it's only going to be a matter of time before they shut this game down or just on everybody else.
Well, I mean, look at it. We're so used to it. What if we woke up one day and there's no YouTube, right? Before, it used to be where we had to get on a television program, hint, hint, right, back in the day, and whatever they put out is what we saw. Now I can look at Muhammad Ali fights. Now I can look at Robert De Niro gang Italian movies, mafia stuff. I can look at this. I can learn how to paint a little better. I can, anything I want, we go to it. So we're so intoxicated. It's good on one level, but we've submitted to that, right? So, you know, who would have thought that we have this, but it's not for us to, we've lost ourselves. We lost the connectedness to ourselves. So anything you share on YouTube, I would suggest that download it and keep it to your hard drive. Whatever you see online that's beneficial to you, download it and keep it to your hard drive. Multiple hard drives. External hard drive, different computers, different things. Because once the internet is shut down, if you didn't really memorize this stuff and internalize this stuff and study this stuff, then you're screwed because it's there for you. But
agree.
Yeah, and there's always that something to distract you. When you're really into something and you see the trajectory or you see okay, if I'm looking at something on baseball, I'm going to see a couple baseball videos on the side, but then why am I seeing a twerk video there too? You know what I mean? Like something so out of place, like I'm going to click on that and get lost on what I was originally doing. It's easy to lose your focus, even with this stuff. And I'm going to wrap it up soon, not because I want to cut it, but I do have something to do another 10, 15 minutes, and we're going to be back again whenever you're ready, brother. You know how I do, right? But
absolutely,
it's just so funny to me. It's just so strange that they've given us so much that we don't have to lick a stamp no more, right? This is great. For in the bigger cities where you used to see these phone cards and you see folks from Mexico and the Caribbean and different countries that wanted to call their families on the cheap. And they say, oh, I'm going to get that $20 phone card. I'm going to get this $40 or $50 phone card. And if I had to make a call long distance and wanted to get a phone card, I'd always find that Jamaican lady, listen, which one is the best? And she knew, well, that one will cut off on you, this one. But now that industry is destroyed and we're given email. We know that hurt the post office. Look how they reduced hours and manpower. They're giving us YouTube. We don't have to go down to a TV studio anymore. I can have a studio in my own bed. One of my bedrooms is a studio. But then there's a flip side to that. Because when they pull it away and we don't know, wait a second, how do I find James? I have his phone number, but the internet is down, YouTube is down, Facebook is down, and my smartphone doesn't work. I can cut it on, but everything has been stripped out of it. We've been leaning on it too much. Like that drunk that leans on you at the bar and you're tired of holding up his weight and you move out of the way real quick. Guess what? He falls. Busts his head open and they can take the wallet out of his pocket. So that's what they're doing to us. They're getting us dependent more and more, more and more. We're driving down the street now, not looking to see if the light is green or red. Head-on collision.
Yeah, exactly. And that would be my message to, gang stalkers, participants. Imagine what happens when this ultimate pastime, this power, is taken from you and is actually turned against you.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to end well.
All your selfies will come back to haunt you.
That's right.
Can't hide your face.
Right.
Like Teddy Pendergrass said, you can't hide from yourself. All those selfies you got. I'm doomed that way, so I accept that. I'll take it like a man. I'm still going to run my mouth, but all those selfies you took, everybody knows who your friends are. Your friends list. You know,
Every text you've ever sent, every nude photo you've ever sent, every call you've ever made, everything you've ever said on the phone, that is stored in NSA databases.
And even if you take them naked pictures out your phone, they still got them.
Oh, hell yeah. And you know they got them just, all right, well, when we turn on this guy, here's what we got to do, this, and this. They got algorithms, supercomputers that are capable of hundreds of thousands of calculations per second. Like the most advanced technology, you know? I mean, and it's being used
right now.
Evil.
Yeah.
And right now, even. And it's being used for evil, and it's sick, period. It needs to end. Targeting must end. These programs have to end. Something's got to give. Unless we want to live in an American Stasi, you know?
Right.
And
that's right.
I guess I'll end on that note.
Well, brother, man, I really want to just say how much I appreciate you sharing your experiences and, you know, what you've been going through and how strong you are, even though you've been going through it. And I want you to dig deeper next time. And like I said, the funny thing about it was why we didn't super schedule it, because I was considering us doing it last night, and different things happened and some other things happened on a personal level, threw it back, and then bang, that's how it happens, you know. But it was a knockout of a show. And in boxing, they always say the blow that knocks you out is the one that you didn't see coming. So the show that knocked people out today on a good level, hopefully, is one they didn't see coming. We're going to have scheduled shows. We're going to have other things, too, that just off the hip. I'm just going to put my contact info out there really quick, and we're going to end it, but I want you to stay on. You can text or call me at 407-590-0755. If you're out of the country or in the country, you can email me at scurvmedia@gmail.com. I have many other email addresses, but I'll throw that one out there. Scurv, SCURV, media, MEDIA @gmail.com. And download the Landscurve app at the Google Play Store, the Amazon Store, and the Apple Store. I'm there also. I'm on SoundCloud. I'm on Stitcher. I'm on TuneIn. I'm on Podcast United. I'm on damn near every podcast platform. I distribute the things out there. So YouTube, don't get too souped up. If you cut out, I'm still out there big time, right? And I got all my stuff on the hard drive. So if you shut me down, I'm going to send it back out again. I always got an extra pistol with extra bullets. So don't think you got me. Check the ankles too, right? But it's a wonderful journey. Let's use this while we can. Let's try to. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna put for Narwa. I'm gonna put the Gmail inside so you can see it, because sometimes this microphone can jack up a little bit because of the bandwidth. It's scurvmedia@gmail.com. And to Google Landscurve, you'll pull everything up. I've been hard online for the last 15 years, pretty much putting something out there every day on a different level. So I live this. This is what I live, and I appreciate everybody in the chat room, and especially Barbara, right? Nicole and Black Lion and CIA, everybody who's here, Narwa, and some of the new people who are here. Check out the stuff that I hate to say what I do, because it's a us thing. And like I said, anytime you have a story that you want to talk about or something that you want to drop, or even if we have fun and tell jokes on a carnal level, we need some humor too while we're in the trenches. It's not always about being serious, but being able to laugh, because understand that even when your enemy puts a lot on you and he's figuring you to break, and you're over there laughing and having a good time, even when you do feel it, you know, it pisses him off. And if you can't identify with that, listen, when times are good, you don't feel the pain. You know, those endorphins get released in the brain. Listen, when you were a 17-year-old sneaking over that girl's house, when you were getting the knee burns, you didn't feel it because something else was feeling so good. You felt the pain after. So keep the righteous pleasure going, and you won't feel the pain. And yes, Sean, thank you so much. Connect up, landscurve.com. Let's keep it going. I want people to help me out to share. You know, it's not about me. Everything I do is a reflection of what someone brings me, unless I talk about some celebrity or something like that. But let's always try to go higher. Always maintain your light. Don't let the circumstances around you at the time make you give up and make you lose your light. People who come with a smile sometimes, most often, they don't have the best intentions for you. Keep your energy, keep your positivity, and invest in it wisely for those who deserve it. Just don't be a giving person and give to everybody. And we have so many takers in the world that when you're deficient and when you're sucked down and sucked out, you have nobody around you to help you out. And help doesn't always just mean money. Help can be an encouraging word. Help could be a silent prayer given in your name to uplift you. There are many dimensions, there are many ways. It's not just one way. Stop thinking the carnal way. Stop thinking the materialistic way. There's a lot of ways we can relate. The animal kingdom is in perfect order. When that animal lower on the food chain slips in his connection, he gets eaten up. But other than that, he's having a beautiful day. Doesn't have to punch a clock. There's fruit, there's bugs, there's locusts and lizards and stuff to eat. The cats that live in the wild around my neighborhood, I got a lake across the street, woods. The cats are fat. Their food is running around. Lizards and locusts and things that they eat, they're not worried about a thing. They're looking at me like, fool, you going to punch a clock? I'm going to go in your backyard and sleep while you're at work. So we got to be more like that, connected to each other. Anyway, brother, thank you so much. I thank everybody so much. I want to say that 2 weeks from now, or actually 13 days, I'm going to have a live stream of the Sergey Kovalev Andre Ward fight. And it's going to be a blow-by-blow and a cyber fight party right here. I'm looking for some eye candy to sit next to me to titillate the eyes and stimulate the testosterone, but it won't be anything indecent. But if not, I'll be here, and we're going to have a ball. If you're not a boxing fan, after that night, you will be a boxing fan because you'll understand there's much more to it other than just the fist being thrown. But I'll make that link tonight, and we're going to have a good time. And Chris and the other young man and whoever else, reach out to me, and we'll have some more shows, and maybe we'll have a group show on Gangstalking. We'll do it all kind of ways. You know what I mean? So, hey, I got the place here, y'all. Come on. Fill it up and let's party. Let's share it and share the link. Share these links and subscribe and understand that there's so much to talk about on an organic level, and stop depending on a CNN, headline news, Fox News. All them things are made to make you think a certain way. If you know somebody in a different country or a different state or a different city, reach out to them personally. Ask them, how is it really out there? Many of us think of the Middle East like there's always bombs going off out there. You know, they're always getting killed and all this and that. Well, how do you think they feel when they look and see the plight of people over here getting knocked off and killed? They got Chicago over there like, oh my God, they're just shooting up and they're crazy. But Orlando really statistically is worse, right? So don't let these so-called mainstream media platforms mold your thinking and make you not enjoy the wonderful life that the Creator gave you. You see what I mean? Don't fall for that trick. But also keep your weapon on your hip. You never know. But your weapon is your mind and your ability to navigate around the minefields of things seen and unseen in this world. So a weapon won't stop a demon from whispering something into your ear, make you go crazy and you jump off the cliff and kill yourself, right? Anyway, I'm rambling. Let me go. Brother, thank you so much. I'll probably give you a little short call tonight. So, man, you did well. And thank you so much, man. I learned a lot from you today.
Yo, thanks for having me, and thank you so much for giving me a platform to expose this.
Thank you so much. We're going to sign off, and we'll share everything. People hit me up. I'll share your information. I'm going to make a new page where we can share information, website, social media, and all that stuff, too. And keep your head up, be strong, and understand that in the end, we're going to be the winner. Living or dead, we're going to be the winner. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
The mainstream media, littered with propaganda. A dark, endless sea void of truth. But miraculously, a light shines through. Exposing the frauds for who they are. Every time he creates. Introducing the boldest man on the net. Lance Scurv.
Make sure to check out the boldest blog at lancescurv.com and follow Scurv on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube under Lance Scurv.